I've been sitting here for the last minute and 30 seconds waiting for you to hit the fucking live button, and you're just sitting there dicking around in the fandom mobile. Oh, you
Hey,
hit it.
hey, you know how I do. I always gotta be dicking around in the fandom mobile. Welcome everybody. And tonight you are here with Zod and PB as we talk about stuff. And we're doing this game of Thorns style. I mean Thrones, where we gave our hot takes on that. And it's kind of funny. It all comes full circle. That's where we kind of started getting our base. You remember those good old days, PB?
Oh, it was a year ago. I guess it was a little over a year ago because what? That was everybody talking about that yesterday or 2 days ago on Twitter, saying,
Oh
yeah,
my
it's
God.
a year since the series finale. And let's go back and I seen someone on Twitter say, let's go back and look at season 8 and see if we still hate it. And I just responded to that with a no. Like I'm
So
not going into a big old explanation, just no. Uh-uh.
yeah,
Like I'm
I think
staying away from that was the year of staying away from eights. I'm not going back to season 8. I'm not going back to episode 8 ever.
and you know what's funny about that? I was in the store with the unicorn and I was looking at Game of Thrones and I was like, you know, I have seasons 1, 2, and 3. I could safely go to 6, and I'm like, I can't do it. And she's like, really? You don't want to? I'm like, nah, I can't do it. I just seeing the end
I mean,
just ruined
yeah,
everything.
I mean, if you hadn't ever watched season 7 and 8 and you just end at season 6, because that's when he gets stabbed to death, right? Or is that when he
Yeah,
comes back to life? He gets stabbed to death at the end of season 5? I don't remember.
it was 5, but 6 was great because that's when Cersei blew up the tower, and I was like, I love Cersei. This could
Yeah.
be my ending right here. She blew up the tower. She rules Westeros, and
Well,
the White
not the
Walkers
tower,
are
you
coming.
mean the sept.
Yeah, the Sept. Well, half the fucking city too.
I mean, essentially, that's she blew up like a few city blocks with that frickin' wildfire. But yeah, that was the good old days of given our appropriate and proper takes on Game of Thorns, like that fucking show. But now we ain't got to
uh,
worry about that because I got all summer to watch Stargirl.
yes, and we will talk about Stargirl. Welcome everybody. I just want to set this up. So PB probably wasn't expecting to do this. I sure as shit wasn't. But then I came out, and all these fucking weirdos came out of the woodwork. I have my beer in my hand right here because something happened that caused me to get a fucking headache today. After how long?
Oh,
Year,
jeez.
a year, 2 years, whenever fucking Justice Pains came out, we've had bitching and moaning. Release the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut exists. No, it doesn't. The Snyder Cut exists. No, it doesn't. The Snyder Cut will be better. Okay. And what happens? We get the news confirmed. Fuck my life. The Snyder Cut is not only alive and well, but this motherfucker got $30 million from HBO Max to do this proper Snyder Cut. And now, before we dive into
No,
this or get to the article,
I think that you're looking at it wrong. Like he confirmed that there was no Snyder cut. Like if there was a Snyder cut, you wouldn't need $30 million. Like he never finished it because he
no,
quit to take care of family stuff. So
no, 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 no.
when
We're gonna
everybody
get to
says
your
there was a
article.
Snyder cut, there was not a Snyder. Okay, okay, I'll I'll,
We're gonna
I'll
get
hold
to
back.
Yeah. Hold back. I know this is beautiful because if you guys don't know, uh, the beautiful thing about doing Game of Thrones and why we're kind of going back to that is because PB used to have epic rants, and I just couldn't wait because I already seen PB posting this Twitter about that article, and I said, "Oh, this is perfect. We've got to come in and we've got to weigh in on this bullshit." Because here's the thing: I'm not on the side of Collider, and I'll bring up that article and the nonsense that they talk. But I'm not on the side of all these fucking crazy Snyder people either. I fall on the side of wanting a good fucking movie from DC. That's the side that I'm on. I don't give a
Yeah, that'd
fuck
be
one
nice.
way or the other. You, what was that?
I said, yeah, that would be nice.
So, what's up, Stone Cold? Before we get started and we go on our rants, what's up, Stone Cold Jeremy? What's up, Gary North? What's up, Tyra? Good to see you. What's up, Senate?
Oh
Generation
my God.
Productions.
No, stop. It's not fucking Tyra. It's Tara. Are you kidding me right now?
Tara will
Unbelievable.
forgive me because she's been on my channel and
Oh
knows that
my
I can't
God.
pronounce Earth names. It just comes with the territory. You know, everyone's like, "Are you worried about the coronavirus?" I'm like, "No,
No,
I'm a fucking
no,
Kryptonian."
no. Tara is the lady that doesn't want to have to take her PlayStation 4 from one room to another room. So she just bought four of them so that she could play on hers and each kid could play on theirs in separate rooms. That's who
Yes.
Tara is.
Oh, I remember
Yeah.
that. That's the one name I probably should pronounce right, so that way, Tara, if you hear me, I'm always open for a free PlayStation 4. I'm just saying, a villain will not refuse.
Jesus.
But anyways, no, we're gonna dive into this because you're gonna hear these crazy people and the pro Snyder fans, Lethal Lightning, RK Outpost, and all those other fucking people. Look, here's the other thing too. Half the fucking people that jump on this bandwagon, like I'll give it to Lethal. He's been saying he wants the Snyder Cut. I'm pretty sure since Justice League was a thing. But the rest of the people following and saying, "Ooh, yay," they didn't ever give a shit about this. What it comes down to is, it's not about the movie, okay, folks. It's not about the movie. They don't give a shit about the movie. You fuckers hated Justice League. It's not about the movie. It's about this notion that you're getting what you want. Okay. And look, I'm down for that. Directors should pay attention to fans, but they should still put out a good fucking product. I mean, yeah, I'm ecstatic that directors and that these studios are saying, "Hey, the fans are coming out in droves. We need to do this." But don't go and get your money and then make a shitty product, because I mean that defeats the purpose. Am I wrong, PB? Am I saying anything that's crazy? Because I mean,
No.
for once, Zod is talking logically here, folks. You're not going to hear this often. It astonishes me that there's a campaign to revitalize, and before you rabid, crazy DC you fans attack me, keep in mind my fucking channel name is General Zod, and I review DC Comics on the Profits of Geek Culture, okay? I'm a fucking DC fan, but I'm also a fan of good movies. And I'm here to tell you, the Justice League was fucking horrendous, okay? It was fucking terrible. And it had nothing to do with Josh Whedon, okay? Yes, Josh Whedon contributed to it, but it had to do with the fact that the story was shit. If you can sit there and tell me with an honest to God fucking straight face that Jesse Eisenberg was a great Lex Luthor, you are fucking smoking crack. I'm sorry. He is the worst Lex Luthor ever. And I don't buy the shit of, "Oh, he's how the character was originally a eccentric billionaire." Bullshit. You're full of
Nah,
shit,
man.
okay?
If your Lex Luthor makes John Cryer look like a badass, you're doing something wrong.
And if you guys don't know, and we'll get into this too, because this might be a long one. We're also going to get into the CW, but yeah, that's from Supergirl. And spoiler alert, that show is fucking terrible. Okay, and his Lex is just barely passable, and he's better than Jesse Eisenberg. I mean, if I put him alongside of Jesse Eisenberg, and they say, Zod, who do you think is the best? And I say hands down, John Cryer. That hands down, I will take his I mean, let's look at the Lexus through history. Are you gonna tell me that Jesse Eisenberg can hold a candle to Gene Hackman, Michael Rosenbaum, uh, Kevin Spacey, even if he was in the shittiest Superman movie ever. I mean, can he hold a candle to any of those fucking A-list actors and their portrayal? Even Kevin Spacey given a shitty script. One thing he did do good is he made Lex Luthor work in that movie. I mean, nothing else in that movie worked, but his Lex Luthor, it was one of the few things that kept me engaged in that movie. And you're trying to tell me that the Snyder Cut is like God came down and an almighty Snyder's going to come down from the heavens and he's going to come down to this project and he's going to spend $30 million. I mean, it's like I said in my tweet. You literally have to take that movie from fucking ground floor and just tear the whole thing apart and basically start over because the foundation was shit. There was no introduction to any of these characters. They were all thrown in half-assed. Okay. Uh, we had Cyborg. He's cool. What's his backstory? Because, all right, we had fucking Flash. What's his backstory? Nothing. He's funny. We had Batman. What was his backstory? He mowed down a bunch
Flash
of
is not
people.
funny.
I know how you feel about it, but I'm sorry. I still think that he was hilarious. But anyways, we'll get into that in a little bit. But we had Batman, who did the biggest fucking character shift that I've ever seen from one movie to
Yeah, it
another.
was
With
the
no,
biggest character shit I ever seen.
it was like there
That's
was
what you
no
said, right? They shit on Batman.
I mean, there
Oh, you
was
said
no
shift. My bad.
yes shift, not shit, but yes, I can agree with you. It's like there was no explanation of how he goes from fuck it, I'm killing everyone to we gotta save Superman. Like nothing, nothing, and it was just the only thing though that holds that movie together. The only thing that holds that movie together is that Ben Affleck's performance is much better, or it's much more tame, and he's actually acting in that. And Wonder Woman. I mean, am I wrong, PB? I don't know if you remember that movie or really want to, but what other?
I have definitely watched Justice League in the double digits because I like laughing at the movie. I mean, it has some redeeming qualities, unlike The Last Jedi. Like, I can't sit through that movie ever again. I can never do it. But I can sit through Justice League and be like, you see that upper lip? And then I can chuckle. Like, there's some funny shit in the movie. There are some funny interactions. And yeah, Wonder Woman holds it together. And then when you need those moments of levity in the movie, they have Aquaman there. I don't know why the hell you think the Flash is funny. I think he's just fucking annoying.
Yeah, I
It's not
know.
Barry Allen.
Everyone shits on Ezra Miller's performance. I'm sorry. I'm one of those
It's because
weird
he's not
people who
Barry
actually.
Allen.
I know he's not Barry Allen, but semantics. Anyways, Timon Flip brings up a great point, and I just wanted to highlight it. At General Zod's Fandom Zone, a shit Sunday is still a shit Sunday, no matter what toppings are on it. Great analogy, because that really is true. If you make a shitty product, I don't give a shit if the first director came in and they fucked up the second directors. I mean, really, we're arguing Last Jedi semantics here, because you could say, let's use Star Wars as a reference because it is actually pretty relevant to this one. You could say, if you wanted to make the argument that, oh, Ryan Johnson came in, he shit all over this. Let's have the Abrams cut, right? But really, would the Abrams cut have been better? I mean, really? Would it have been a retread? Would you people still
You
be
want
bitching?
JJ to do all three movies?
I mean, I
Oh
mean,
my god.
I mean, look at
Like
Rise of Skywalker's
I thought
people.
that like okay, he played it everybody says like The Force Awakens, he played it safe, it was copy paste and I was like, okay, I can see your point, how it was copy paste, but how else are you supposed to introduce your characters? Like they're going at minimum to feel similar, just like a lot of the characters in the prequels feel similar. Like when you're watching episode one, Qui Gon Jinn seems like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of episode four. They seem like the same character. Like he's the wiser, older Jedi. He's not like super old or anything, but that's the role that he's playing. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. So yeah, you're gonna get that. But holy shit, when you finish off a trilogy with that atrocity, my God, man, I can only imagine what the middle one would have been like when you got to compete with something like Empire. And I know everybody shits on Attack of the Clones, but it's definitely an underrated movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, and here's the thing. First off, Gary North, stop fucking drafting people. You hear that? They're trying to kill. They're trying to steal people to your cousin's stream. I mean, I know he's family,
Well,
but fuck.
that's not until Friday, I don't think.
Oh, okay, good. Then Gary North, promote away.
No,
I'm sorry.
when it was either Monday or Tuesday on some stream that I think LB was doing and Perp was on with him, and they were like, "You need to go to LB's stream on Friday for the Last Jedi," and I was like, "No." Like I can go to the stream and I can listen to the stream, but I am not watching the movie along with you fucking sadists.
I know, like I give LB props. I honestly don't know how he could do that to himself. By the way, shout out to Lonely Banter. Like I
He's a
man,
completionist.
props. Like I could never. I'm with you, PB. I've seen that movie once, never again. I can't. I can't. I tried and I
Well,
got to the crawl and I said, "Fuck this."
I mean, how many? I don't know how many times I've seen the worst scenes in that movie from watching multiple videos on YouTube. Like I've watched Mahler's videos. I've watched like some of the EFAPs that they do where they're tearing other people apart that are praising the film. I was like, yeah, the only thing good about the movie is that it looks shiny. And that's going to be the only thing that looks good about the Snyder Cut is it's going to look shiny. Like it's going to look like the rest of the Zack Snyder films instead of looking like a Joss Whedon film because that's just so terrible to look like Joss Whedon. Like who made the TV show Firefly that everybody loves? Who made that?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing that I will give Josh Wheaton credit for because, look, I'm a Wheaton fan, okay? I know that's blasphemy in certain circles, but fuck off. I grew up with Buffy, okay? That show was the shit, all right? And from there, he went to Firefly and Dollhouse, and he made two shows that were criminally underrated and cut in their prime. And here's the thing. He also made before Justice League Avengers. I mean, and what did Avengers do? I mean, was that not one of the biggest fucking anticipated films? And I'll be the first to admit he knocked it out of the park with that. So
I
you
mean, it
didn't get
was and still is one of the biggest movies of all time.
and I mean, it's not like, okay, it wasn't like they went from Zack Snyder to like Joe Blow off the street. You know what I mean? They went from Zack Snyder to Josh Whedon. I mean, logically, it seems to make sense. And that's the thing that upsets me too about this is that people shit on the man, but you all still went to fucking see Avengers, didn't you? Didn't? And I'm a DC fan, but y'all went to see Avengers and y'all liked it. Y'all went to see fucking Age of Ultron. Some of you liked it. I did. Some people didn't. It was a mixed bag. Whatever. I digress. But still, you guys still supported him. But yet, because it was in the holy grail of the Zack Snyder thing, and I don't understand the fucking mentality. Look, I own a majority of Zack Snyder's movies. Okay, so I'm not shitting on the guy here. I love 300. I fucking love Watchmen with a fucking passion. I've seen that movie multiple times. I've got the fucking special edition, every fucking comic,
Trash.
Doomsday Clock. Fuck you, PB. We will always disagree on that. Great movie. I mean, and I was a fan of Man of Steel. I thought people shit on that movie, and I thought it was a pretty decent start to this universe. My problem is that all of this fucking like people don't want to accept that this movie was fucking shit and that nothing and no one was gonna say. I mean, let's just look at the setup in BVS and you see what was gonna happen in Justice League. I mean, am I wrong? The setup for BVS, and I've watched it multiple times. I have the Ultimate Edition, whatever, but the setup is shaky at best. I mean, I would be curious, and I am gonna watch this just to see where it goes. But I mean, if you take the setup from BVS, it's kind of all over the place. I mean, you have Doomsday, you have Superman's death, you have a vague introduction to the Justice League. I mean, there's a lot. The story's just all over the fucking place. Am I wrong? I mean,
I mean, nothing in the DCEU was set up smoothly. Like you're not supposed to do your team up movie before you introduce all your characters. What are you doing?
yeah,
That
and
is
here's
the
the
biggest problem with their setup is you don't have to follow the Marvel guide per se, but maybe follow your own people's guide. Like you don't have to make the same story as the TV side, but the TV side didn't just have a bunch of random people show up to do a crossover. They introduced all of the shows and all of the characters, and then they did a crossover.
and look,
Like the
once
only
again,
one they didn't do that with was Batwoman. They introduced her in the crossover first, and then she got a TV show, and look how that's working out.
exactly. And hold on a
We'll
second,
talk about that
because
later.
I'm going to address the chat here really quick because Stone Cold Jeremy had a good one here. At Zod, I'm with you. I'm with you on the opinion of Josh Wheaton. Also a huge Buffy fan. Hell, I refer to main villains as the big bad. Only people who watch Buffy gets that reference. And Timon Flip says, at General Zod's Phantom Zone, the two things I don't liked in Watchmen are the cringy hallelujah sex scene. Yes, I definitely agree with that. And the giant blue dong. No one, Timon, let me tell you something. That shit came in hot, okay? You're looking at the Viet Cong War, and I dare anyone to say a big blue penis is not fucking distracting because I'm just looking going, can we put a loincloth on him or something? Are you telling me he's just gonna walk around butt ass naked? Yep. Whole movie. He's doing it.
Are you gonna
He's
are you gonna read the next comment?
yes, and we have a lonely man. Welcome, LB. We are talking logical to
What's
all
up,
these
cousin?
fucking Snyder cut weirdos about this. And look, I'm going to be fair and partial here because there's two articles. One comes from PB where Zach kind of contradicts his previous statements where he said, "Oh yeah, there was a lot cut from my movie, but I didn't really watch the Josh Whedon cut. But I'd say about 1/4 of my film is in it," which is like, how the fuck can you make an estimate about what they put in your movie or your co-wrote movie, how much they actually put into your film if you've never watched the original fucking cut? That's fucking ridiculous. Like that is the most asinine statement that I've heard. And I've made a lot of asinine statements here on the channel. Like I've broke records on some stupid statements I made, but that's got to be one of the fucking stupidest statements I've heard. How can you say that you are positive they cut a? He gave a percentage, PB. He gave a fucking number, and he hasn't seen his own work.
Oh, right. Like he could have just as easily and gotten the same point across and said, I don't know what percentage of my work you've seen. It could have been, he could have gave numbers. He could have said it could have been 10%. It could have been upwards of 70% because, that's seems to be about the number like 70 to 80% of the way done that people seem to give. But the analogy that I used yesterday on Perp Stream was if you did like a mural painting and you did 70% of it and you just painted the ever living shit out of it, and then you had to go do something else for whatever reason, family stuff, and you had to take care of it because family first. Obviously, everybody understands that that's not a problem. So the other guy comes along and he has to finish it. And he goes, okay, well, I don't really like this part here. It's not going to go with how I'm going to finish it, but I'm going to keep this part over here. So he decides to do 50% of the painting. Well, he only covered up 20% of your work. So we still get to see 50% of your work. And then you're going to tell me, and I'm supposed to believe that you never saw it. Like, you could never take 2 hours out of your life at any point to see how much of your work was used in a final product that you're getting paid for. Like, he got paid for it, and he's still an executive producer, which means he's still getting paid for it. Every time they sell a Blu-ray, every time they sell a video on demand, whatever, he's getting a percentage of it because he's an executive producer. That's how it works. And you want me to believe you ain't never seen this movie? Like, I don't believe that, first of all. And second of all, one of these statements, quite obviously, is a lie. You can decide which one, but one of them has to be a lie because that's how the English language works.
PB, this is gold. I knew when I decided to do this, I was like, well, should I do this on a late night talks? And I was like, no, this feels like just us commentate back and forth because this is absolutely true. And look, I know I'm going to have those lurkers, and shout out to all you people who are fucking lurking, who pop in and out just to give a report. Shout out to you. But anyways, I know I'm going to have those lurkers, so I'm going to say, as I've said continuously in this fucking stream, I am a fan of DC. I like most of Snyder's work. Don't have an issue with it. What I do have an issue with is, one, the fact that, like PB said, you're going to tell me you've never watched your own fucking movie? I know Zack Snyder in his comments, it's bullshit. He's watched that fucking movie because he's clearly not happy with it. And you can't come and tell me that in all these fucking years, and with this fucking hashtag that you hear that, oh, I've heard from a third party who's watched the film that a good majority of who is this third party? I'm going to get to that article in a second, but let's just say I'm with you, man. I call complete bullshit. I refuse to believe that there was not one time where he didn't, out of morbid curiosity. Okay, let me just ask you, PB. Let's pretend you're Zack Snyder, right? And you make you make some of this movie, and then family emergency, right? And so you have to go, and then you're dealing with family shit. So maybe you drop out of the limelight. Maybe for a year you're avoiding people, right? You're off the social media, personal shit. But then you start hearing from large group of your fans that, hey man, did you see what they did to your movie? They fucked that shit up. Like, you have Jason Momoa who goes on a tweet and says he wants your cut. And you're telling me not once, not one fucking time, it doesn't cross your mind to go, I should see what the fuck they did to my movie. Like, if you're Zach, is this your train of thought? Are you like, Oh no, man. I avoided that shit like the plague, like it was Last Jedi. Or are you like, hey,
Um,
motherfucker?
yeah, I don't see how you wouldn't want to see how somebody used your work. Like you did that. You were there sitting in the chair telling people what to do. And then somebody took what you did and put it together, added the music, added the filters, because we got to make everything look dark, bleh, or whatever. And then you never saw what the finished product looked like? Why you weren't even the least bit curious? Not even once? Like I said before, like you don't have 2 hours of curiosity. Like you can even be working. Like you can be sitting there coming up with ideas for whatever the hell you want at any freaking point. You could be writing your next movie while you're watching how somebody fucked up your previous movie and be like, oh man, that was terrible. I can fix that with this new cut. You could have been working on your cut while you're watching how they fucked up your previous cut. Why wouldn't you do that?
Exactly. It baffles my mind. It baffles my mind that not once, you wouldn't see all your friends, right? Maybe you have your cousin over, maybe you have some friends over for a fucking barbecue, and they're like, "Hey, Zach, man, heard you worked on the Justice League, and your boy Whedon took over. I got to tell you, wasn't really happy with that cut." And you don't go, "Hmm, what did Mister Whedon do to my project?" Not once. That doesn't even fucking register. Like I refuse to believe it. But
Right. And you're telling me, like, you have the opportunity, like, you know the people personally. You talk to them face to face. You can say, hey, how about you just email it to me, mail it to me, snail mail? I don't give a fuck. Put it on a carrier pigeon and send me a cut so I can see what it looks like when it goes out to the theater. And you're telling me he never fucking did that? No
so
way.
you
No
you
way.
know what? Let's just highlight this. I want to read this article from the Hollywood Reporter just so people can get an idea. And don't worry,
You
I
gotta
will put a link.
you wanna read that comment from GP before you read this article?
Oh no, you can go ahead and do it because I'm on the other page. I can't see shit.
Okay. He says, General Zod, if you love DC, maybe you should move to Washington so you can actually live in DC and the DC universe. Just don't go to the chiropractor called Clark Kent.
That was good. I like how it all came together. Let me guess. He said jokes, right?
Yep.
All right. So me and PB, we pulled up articles. So let's just read this article just so you guys can get a gist of why we're so heated about this. Because I understand Zach being excited about this deal, but there's some shit, and you guys can judge. There is some shit said in this article where you kind of just scratch your head and go, hmm. So it will be an entirely new thing. Zack Snyder's 20 million plus, 20 fucking million plus. Just want HBO Max is dropping 20 mil plus on Justice League. Just let that sink in, but I'll continue. Justice League cut plans revealed. HBO Max will debut the project in 2021, possibly in a 4-hour director's cut or in a six TV style chapters as the Helmer gets the gang back together with the original post production crew to score, cut, and finish visual effects. It was early on a Monday morning in November when director Zack Snyder and his wife and producing partner, Deborah Snyder, received a call from their agent. Let's be a bit more precise. It was 7 a.m. But more importantly, It was the day after the second anniversary release of Justice League. Did not celebrate that. The DC hero
Yay.
superhero the DC superhero movie that Snyder was forced to exit due to a family emergency, which was then substantially reshot and retooled by replacement director Josh Whedon. In the time since its release, something unusual happened. A growing movement of idiots, I'm sorry, fans, rallied together, rallied by the hashtag release the Snyder Cut, called agitated petition, even brought, oh God, sorry. I always get stumped on this part because it's so fucking stupid. They even brought a Times Square billboard and chartered a plane to fly a banner over fucking Comic-Con for Snyder's version to be released. I want to know who the fuck. I want to know who spent the money. Oh my God. I want to know who spent the money on that. Anyways, for the Snyder
It was
version to be released.
crowdfunded.
Oh God. And on the film's second anniversary, the hashtag had the biggest day ever, with even the movie stars Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck adding their own voices on Twitter. So, here, the morning
Sounds
after.
like somebody needs another check.
Yeah, yeah, this Corona's hitting hard. Their movie deals probably fell through. So here, the morning after, was their agent saying that Toby Emmerich, yes, chairman of Warner Bros. Pictures, was acknowledging the movement and, more importantly, was willing to concede. This is real. People out there want it. Would you guys ever consider doing something? Was what Emmerich was asking Zack Snyder as he recalls. The answer to Emmerich's question, a whispered about secret for months, was revealed Wednesday when Snyder confirmed at the end of an online screening of his 2013 movie Man of Steel that there was a version of Justice League was real indeed, and that it was coming to HBO Max, the Warner Media digital streaming service, launching May 27th, and it is expected to debut in 2021. It is currently unclear what form Justice League will take, whether it will be released in almost 4 hours director's cut or into 6 chapters has yet to be decided. But Snyder are now in the midst of reassembling the original production crew to score, cut, add, and finish old visual effects. And yes, maybe bring back many actors to record additional dialogue.
Why
Also,
do I want old visual effects? I want new visual effects, you pricks.
also unclear is the cost of this endeavor. One source pegged the effort at 20 million range, although another source says the figure could be closer to 30 million. The parties involved had no comments. It will be an entirely new thing, and especially talking to those who have seen the released movie, a new experience apart from the movie, Snyder tells The Hollywood Reporter, nodding that to this day he has not watched the version released in theaters. And then and then he says, "You probably saw 1/4 of what I did," the director notes, bashing his judgment on what has been shared with him from the Wheaton version. Just let that sink in, folks. To this
Yep,
day, supposedly.
it was shared with him. He ain't never seen it. It was shared with him. He ain't never seen it, but he knows that you seen about a quarter, but he ain't never seen it. And it was shared with him. Like, pick a statement that's a lie. Your choice.
Before Emmerich's came calling, says Snyder, I always thought it was a thing that in 20 years, maybe someone would do a documentary. No. And I could lend them the footage, little snippets of a cut no one has ever seen. In my fucking vault of wonders. I ad-libbed that, folks. But, adds
Uh,
Deborah, With the new platform and streaming services, you can now have something like this. You can't release something like this theatrically, but you could with a streaming service. It's an opportunity, and it wasn't there 2 years ago, to be honest. It is a very unlikely development. And the latest twist for the movie is that it has, like, the Man of Steel himself seen death and rebirth. Snyder was in a unique position when he shot Justice League in 2016. Warner Bros. Had entrusted its universe of DC characters to one filmmaker, him, and he had been building towards a great on-screen team-up, debatable, though not without some bumps in the road. He began with Man of Steel, which grossed 668 million
Those
worldwide with
bumps
about
were humans that Batman was running over.
Then he followed up with Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, the 2016 blockbuster that polarized fans in its dark take of the iconic titular heroes and took in
Like, people
eight.
that got a problem with Superman wanting to stop Batman in that movie are idiots. Like, he just going around murdering people that are going to be put in jail for 10 years. Like, you could reform that guy and he could become a pastor at the local Lutheran church, but instead you decided to hook your tow cable up to his car and drag him behind you. But I digress.
Heroes took 870 billion globally. In January 2017, Snyder and what he considered his optimal version of Justice League, almost 4 hours long. Fuck that. This isn't Endgame. Although he knew it was something the studio would not release. Warner's wanted a cut in the 2 hour range, and he delivered a rough version with approximately 2 hours and 20 minutes runtime. That was the first cut the studio saw. Both sides agreed there was much work still to be done before the November release, but tragedy struck the Snyders when their daughter Autumn died by suicide, which I want to take a moment to say that's fucked up, and I understand because I have a daughter, and I totally and completely understand the portion of him stepping back. That's fucked up. That should never happen to a father. You know, I understand that.
Hey, you're frozen.
Oh, am I? Am I really
Yeah,
frozen?
turn your
Oh, okay.
camera.
I'm back.
Yep, now there you go.
But yeah, I just want to say before I continue with the article, look, his daughter committing suicide, and I knew about this. Look, that is a fucking tragedy, and I might bash the aspects of filmmaking, but make no mistake, I think that this is like really, really, really a bad tragedy. No father should ever have to go through that. And I understand the part of him stepping back to handle family shit because you know what? Family, especially in that dark situation, comes first. So, yeah, let's, let's continue with the article. I know I froze for about 10 minutes, but you got to see all of this. So,
Huh?
Justice League opened November 16 to weak reviews and a sluggish box office, eventually taking in 658 million. So, um, let's just go back here, okay? The, Batman versus Superman, which we could argue some people like it, some people don't, right? I'm on the fence that I didn't mind the movie. I hate Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. That is the most fucking horrendous Lex Luthor. Fuck anyone who argues with me. You're dumb if you think he's a good Lex Luthor. I'm sorry, but I digress. But think about this, okay? 873 million for Batman versus Superman, right? Now, Justice
That
League
movie only made
grosses.
873 million.
I mean, that's still a bit, okay? We're not doing this stupid. It's not a
That's
success.
barely more than Venom.
Okay, but let's just keep in mind we're not comparing this to you have to make the $1 billion club. Let's just keep it in perspective. That's still a lot
That's
of
not
fucking
in the
money.
$1 billion club. That's a Sony movie that was R rated compared to a movie that has Batman and Superman in it, and both of their names are in the title. And it can't even hit $900 million.
You're just spoiled for
Anyway,
Marvel movies. All right.
really,
So
yeah, I'm
okay.
so spoiled for Marvel movies. That's why my favorite movie last year was Joker.
All right. But anyways, God, my point being, okay, still, that's not chump change. That's still a good haul, all right? Now we come to Justice
Sure.
League. 658 million worldwide. Just think about that drop for a second. That's what 200 and something
And you said
million,
658.
658, and the previous one did 873.
I mean, I wanted, like, the drop isn't even the biggest problem. The problem is that you're making less money with your team up movies than you are with all of your solo movies outside of what, Shazam? It was the only one that made less than that.
Yep,
Like Wonder Woman made, did it hit 800 million or was it just shy?
it was
I know it
just
was
shy.
in the 700 million club.
It was in the
Okay. Yeah, it
700
was like
million. Just
790, something like that. Okay.
yeah,
And then Aquaman hit a billion because it had like 200 plus million in China before they, stopped showing American movies there or something. That was before beer flu. And then, oh, which one am I forgetting? How much did Man of Steel make?
Man of Steel did
That's the one.
upwards to 9.
Okay. Right. So, like, like I said before, you don't have to follow the Marvel formula, but when you take characters that are making 7 to 900 million all by themselves and you put them together on the screen, you shouldn't be making less money. I'm not saying you're supposed to be making double, like Justice League wasn't supposed to make $2 billion like Infinity War or something. But the fact that it didn't hit a billion is surprising because it's a Justice League movie. And then what's more surprising and what makes it a huge failure is it makes less movie than the solo character movies. Like that's terrible. That is
That is
terrible. There are very few movies out there when you do the connected universe like that. I don't know what Black Panther made more than uh Age of Ultron, and then I think Civil War made more than Age of Ultron, and then I think Iron Man 3
but
did.
hold on. We
So
can
they
call
have.
Civil War a team up movie. That basically was, I
No,
mean,
you can, but I was just going by title and how they're supposed to be categorized. Because I agree, that's like Avengers 2.5. So yeah,
basically.
you still have like all of them in there. So it's
And,
not your typical Captain America movie or even, adding one or two heroes to it like Ragnarok, you could say, is a Thor and Hulk movie. Like he's in pretty much the whole movie.
oh, hold on a second. Your cousin's screaming at you. He says Black Panther didn't make more than Age of Ultron! Exclamation point.
Oh shit.
Your
Oh
cousin is
shit. Well
mad.
then,
Oh, family dinner, buddy.
son of a bit, he used an exclamation point. Son of a bitch. What is this comment you have on the screen?
Okay, so Stone Cold Jeremy made a very good point here. He said if released, the Snyder Cut involves rewriting the script, replacing Steppenwolf with Darkseid, replacing Ezra Miller with Grant Gustin. I totally back that up, and making Oh, son of a bitch. I hate when it highlights in blue. Okay, there we go. And making it better and make more sense, then I'll jump on that train. So, yeah,
Right,
I
yeah. If it's
agree.
a completely different movie, 100% different movie, I can get on board with it. But it
Now,
won't
now,
be. It can't
now,
be.
here's the thing. Here's the thing that we could see. If Zack Snyder is smart, okay, and if HBO is smart, they could, and and he could justify this. We know it'd be bullshit. You and me know it would be bullshit, but he could say, he could fucking gut that movie and make a completely different movie and then just say, hey, this was the Snyder cut I had all along, right? How fucking hilarious would it be if he just comes out with a completely different movie, right? It's just nothing is the same. Maybe there's a couple of story threads that he had in his other movies, but it's just fucking retooled. There's nothing like the original Josh Whedon cut. Could you see something like that happening, where it's just like a completely fucking different movie?
I mean, I guess I
And I mean,
don't
he
see
could get
how
away
it's
with it.
possible. Even if they use the maximum number at 30 million from the articles that I read, I don't see how you can shoot enough because they would have to shoot some new scenes because it's not like you can just take some of the scenes in the movie and reposition them in the movie to make a new story. That's not gonna work. Like that would be freaking
I mean,
hilarious, and you can turn Justice League into a comedy like Batwoman.
yeah, I'm just saying hypothetically because we know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the same movie. Okay, if you let me just tell you something, you fucking ridiculous Snyder fans, okay? And once again, I feel like I have to do this disclaimer, but I fucking like Zack Snyder because I know I'll probably get a bunch of fucking hate mail. But listen here, you ridiculous fucking Snyder fans. You got the BVS Ultimate Cut. And how many of you motherfuckers did I hear justifying it? And you want to know what the difference is? Spoiler alert. You want to know what the difference is? They added on to the beginning and some shit in the middle. Nothing about that movie was different. The only thing that movie did was give context to certain scenes, and some shit that kind of jumped in the movie made more sense. Like that beginning scene kind of fleshes out some shit that happens, like when the hall blows up and stuff. But beyond that, it was the same fucking movie. There was nothing different. It was the same film. They just added on to the length. There was not a
Right, you
goddamn
just
thing
wasted more of
different.
your time.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like it wasn't like Zach went in and he completely made a different BBS. No, it was still the same scenes. It was just some things were extended. There was a little bit more swearing, couple of bit more violence, and there was a whole beginning part that was cut out of the movie. Granted, some of that beginning part gave more context to some stuff that happened, but when you look at the story in general, it was always the same setup because it was the same fucking director. And remember what happened when that movie came out? What did these fucking crazy Zack Snyder fans say? They were like, oh, Warner Brothers is interfering, and it was the interference from Warner Brothers that made that movie so terrible. No, it was Jesse fucking Eisenberg as
They
Lex
inter
Luthor.
they interfered just as much in that movie as they did in BVS, as they did in Man of Steel, as they do in every fucking movie because it's Warner Brothers.
You know what? You know what?
Brothers, like
A good
plural.
a good director, okay? You know what? You want to use a template. You want to use a template for a director that is in control of their project. Let's look at Joker. PB, do you think Warner Brothers may have came in and said, "You know what, Todd? I'm not really feeling this shit you're putting in." What do you think Todd Phillips said? Do you want to make money? Let me do my fucking movie. And what did he do? He made his own movie. I I can guarantee you, as a matter of fact, I have the fucking 4K Blu-ray. You want to know that the deleted scenes in there wasn't a lot. It was like maybe 5 fucking minutes worth of deleted scenes. So pretty much everything you got in that movie was what he intended on shooting. Everything. So you're telling me that Zack Snyder, who has the helm and is entrusted with these DC characters, had no fucking bargaining power whatsoever. He had no input in saying, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to shoot this scene the way that I want to shoot it. Do you want to make money? He couldn't tell them that, and they wouldn't be like, well, he's right. I mean, Man of Steel did pretty good. Maybe we should just let him do his own thing. Are you telling me they're that fucking unreasonable that they don't like making money, that he was so fucking hampered that shitty ass Doomsday, Eisenberg, all of that shit that was wrong with that movie? You're telling me that Warner Brothers had such a giant fucking hand in that film that they said, no, you have to have this ending because this is the ending we want. You know what? I can put fucking money on it. I will put fucking money on it that there is not a fucking Warner Brothers exec that even fucking knows who Batman and Superman is outside of the fucking movies. So you're telling me that they had so much interference, then that shitty, shoddy story was the best that was fucking allowed to happen. I call bullshit. I call absolute bullshit. 100%.
I need you to answer the dog in the chat.
Oh, sorry, Cyber.
He
I went on a
asks,
rant.
so do we know how much this cut adds to the actual movie? And I
Not a
don't
fucking
know if that question is supposed to mean like story or time, because if he just means time wise, like it said it's going to add upwards of 2 hours, because Justice League is almost exactly 2 hours, and they said this cut's going to be like 4. So if it's
okay.
time, it's 4 fucking hours. So it's double the movie. Like if
So
you thought Endgame was long, fucking A, clear your afternoon and evening.
so here's the thing, Cyber, to answer your question. I don't know the specific amount of time. know, I do know one thing, and I like to say this is rumors, so take it with a grain of salt. But from what I heard, there was several shots. I'm talking like maybe 2 hours, and this is a rough guesstimate from what I've heard from like Deadline and other articles. There was at least like 2 hours of raw footage that was done, but the CGI wasn't animated. There was some shit with Darkseid. There was a whole that dream sequence. There was apparently a bunch of shit. They actually show Darkseid in the movie, and that was all cut. So that's the rumor around the water cooler. Darkseid was actually supposed to be introduced in this film. But, and I'm just saying, according to rumors, DC thought this would be like a two-part thing. So they framed it like Justice League was going to introduce the idea of Darkseid, but they were going to use Steppenwolf as like his, the first bullshit guy that comes before the main boss. And then Darkseid was supposed to come be in the movie, but there was supposed to be a lot more hints dropped. Apparently, when Josh came, Warner Bros. Didn't like the ideas or something that clashed with what Zack Snyder did, so Josh Whedon cut all of the Darkseid shit out. According to
Yeah,
what I
because
heard,
Joss
that
Whedon was
was
like, hey, I want to try and make a watchable movie here, but I got to make something that plays off of Batman v Superman. It's like trying to make episode 9 after episode 8. Good luck.
yeah. According to when Josh Whedon saw it, right, the Darkseid thing didn't make much sense. I don't know the specifics. I'm just quoting like various articles I've read and like Hollywood Reporter and stuff like this. You can look it up. It's shit from like the early 2000s or 2015, whenever the fuck the movie came out. And according to the reports, there was like a bunch of dark side scenes that were cut out. And according to why Josh Whedon cut them was because coherently the story didn't make sense. And you know what? I could actually buy that. What do you think, PB?
Oh man. I mean, it wouldn't be a big surprise to me. Like, wow, you're telling me a Zack Snyder Justice League story didn't make sense after I watched Batman vs Superman? Did they what did they say Martha twice? And he's like, this why is he saying Martha?
Yeah, yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, we have the same mom. We're friends now." So I mean, that's what I heard was a lot of it was dark side, a lot of it was that kind of stuff. There was a lot
No,
more to the
no, like
Flashpoint
what
reason.
was said earlier. Who said that earlier about you have to completely replace Steppenwolf with Darkseid? Like Darkseid can't just make the cameo at the end or in the credit scene like Thanos. Like he cannot do what Thanos does in the Justice League movie, and you'd be like, yeah, see, I told you it's a good movie now because Omega I beams. Uh huh. See, he vaporized that guy. You see? I was like, yeah, I watched 3 hours and 58 minutes of trash to see Omega I beams. Like, no. Like I liked Rogue One before I got to the final scene. Well, the second to final scene, not counting the Carrie Fisher scene. Before the Vader scene, I liked that movie. Before that, and I was like, holy fuck, you just put cream cheese frosting on Rogue One? Thank you very much.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I'll tell you something. Most people don't know who Donnie Yen is unless you're a fan of the Ip Man series.
I
I'm
don't
a
know who the
martial artist.
fuck Donnie Yen is. He's like the best character in the movie.
Yeah, but I'm saying before Rogue One, if I was to say, yeah, the man from Ip Man was in it, would you know what the fuck I was talking about?
I don't even know what that movie is now, and you said it twice.
Exactly, right? But when I saw, as a martial artist, when I saw Donnie Yen was in it, and then he did that shit with a stick and beat up them stormtroopers, I was like, "Yep, you got me, movie. You fucking hooked me." I'm like, Disney, I like the direction. I like where your head's at. Granted that had gross issues, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that's different from the setup of that versus Justice League. We all saw the problems forming, and you can see in the drops in money with uh BVS, right? So people saw the shit that was coming, but hold on a second. I'm sorry. LB distracted me. What? What are? Mm, you hurt my
Oh
feelings,
man,
LB.
like I didn't watch that stream, so I'll have to go back and watch his watch along of Rogue One and see how many times he was laughing at that movie. Like how can you not like a blind martial artist that's using a Donatello weapon and the Force?
Yes, exactly. And you know what? You know what though? I can forgive it. Most people aren't martial artists, so they don't understand the intricacies. And martial arts is a very
No, I
spiritual.
don't. I didn't know that he was a martial artist in real life or anything or anything like that. I don't know any of that. In the movie, his character is a martial artist. Like that's what he does, and his partner is the gun, the big fucking gun. I want that gun. Yes, please.
All right, but I digress. Anyways, uh, you know, but here's the thing though. Whether or not you debate one thing, the setup was decent for that. Gary North, I strongly disagree, but we'll agree to disagree. Anyways, The point being is
Gary
that the
North was
setup.
playing frickin' video games when he watched it.
But here's the thing: the setups were at least intriguing enough to get people hooked, right? And here's the thing: whether you like or you hate or you're indifferent about certain parts of Man of Steel, no one could tell me that you weren't interested in BVS. You weren't mystified when you heard the two biggest fucking names in the universe were gonna collide in an epic fucking battle. Batman and Superman. It's like the little kid in us all was mystified, right? And then you had a shitty setup. So, what are you
Right,
expecting
like
to
all
happen
all you need,
with Justice League?
you didn't need with BVS, you didn't need a trailer. All you needed to do was show Batman, show Superman, literally for second and a half each. Show the cool symbol because I like how they incorporated the two symbols together. It looks cool, and then you just show the name of the movie, and then you go, "Yep, I'm watching that. I'm definitely watching that." You're gonna have these
I,
two verse somehow. Like, okay, okay,
and the biggest thing that pisses me off, and you know what? A lot of Marvel fans are going to get pissy about this statement, but I would challenge you.
I'm ready.
How many of you knew who the fuck Iron Man, Captain America, fucking Ant-Man? Not a one of you people had a goddamn clue who Ant-Man was, okay? None of you knew or cared. No one knew about Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Thor. None of you cared. None of you gave a shit. But,
Hell no.
but,
No,
someone's.
the only characters that I knew Marvel wise are the X-Men cartoon,
Yep.
Spider-Man. So I had seen Iron Man, like I had heard of him, but I never really like got into his cartoon, and I know that he's in like a few episodes of Spider-Man from the 90s, like they did a little crossover or whatever, something like that. So I knew who he was, but I don't like know who Tony Stark is. I didn't know who Tony Stark was, and that's what makes Iron Man such a great movie and such a compelling character is because you find out who Tony Stark is as a character and you see his progression. But I
Wait, hold
definitely
on.
knew who
I just
Captain
want to
America
answer
was. Like
something.
I've been watching Captain America cartoons since I don't know how long. Like I would rent those VHSs at the store and watch them at home for, you get like the back in the day, either the 3 or 5 day rental because they were on the
Hold
cheap
on.
rack because, it was
Everybody's
the kids'
saying
cartoon.
everybody's saying Captain America. Of course, everybody knew who Captain America was. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying all of the other people.
Right. The MCU isn't built on Captain America. He was the last solo character that they introduced
Thank you.
before they did the Avengers.
Thank you. If you are a comic book fan, Gary North, and everybody else, if you were a comic book fan, you knew who they were. But I'd like to reiterate there were Marvel movies earlier, and you can't tell me any of those fucking movies were good. Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher? Come on. Really? Did you see the original Captain America movie? I'm sorry. It's fun for the fact that it's so fucking terrible. I watched those
Whoa,
movies
whoa!
growing up.
The first Captain America movie is not terrible. Like it's got Peggy Carter in it. Don't go
No, no,
there with
no,
me.
no. I mean the first Captain America movie. The one in the 80s when
Oh,
Marvel didn't know
oh,
what they were doing.
oh!
The first one was
With that cap
fucking.
cycle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That was so fucking terrible. And Dolph Lundgren as the
No, it's
Punisher.
like they they made it and they were like, you know what? We're gonna make this and have it seem like '60s Batman.
Like they had no direction. So I like to keep in mind. Oh, hey, we have Will Gentry and Ahsoka Tan fan. What's up? Good to have
Oh
you.
my
Anyways,
god, Ahsoka Tano fan. Oh my
yes,
god, this guy.
I've been drinking.
Like you got
Okay,
work
I've
on
got to
your
get out of
English,
here.
Kryptonian.
Hey, I will never convert to your English language. Anyways, I would like to say though that here's the thing: DC had a leg up in the early 80s slash 90s, right? We had a leg up, but Marvel did something
DC
great.
always has a leg up. They have Batman and Superman, but I know exactly what you mean. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Krista. Let's just break this down, folks. Think about this: the first Superman movie ever versus the first Captain America or Punisher movie. If you've seen them, because very few of us have. Now, just think
Oh
about that.
man, you want to
Which one
compare
is
them
better?
movies? Oh my god.
Exactly. If
That's
you were
like
comparing,
comparing frickin' that would be like comparing like Baywatch Pam Anderson to Rebel Wilson.
yeah, I mean, you're right. There's no comparison. DC had a leg up, and then
They're both
something happened.
actors. They're both actors. So they're the same, but they're both blondes. They ain't the same.
No, no, not at all, not at all. And that's the thing. People forget that DC had the edge, and then something happened. Marvel got smart. They got a good person to man the helm. They got good. They got relatively not known, but pretty good actors for the roles they were casted, and they got a leg up. I mean, and they dominated the market, and I don't take that away from them. And if you look at Zack Snyder versus what Kevin did, let's be real. Warner Bros. Wanted to catch up to the MCU. They were like, hey, we got the two biggest names on God Green Earth. We have Superman and we have Batman. Let's make
Well, you
fucking
gotta
money. That's
and you
what it
gotta
came down
figure
to.
at the time when the MCU started, like they were still behind DC. Like Iron Man came out the same year as The Dark Knight. Which one of those movies is better? Because it's pretty freaking obvious.
The Dark Knight, obviously.
Right. And then, you go fast forward, what, 2.5 years, whatever. And then you would compare Iron Man 2 to The Dark Knight Rises. Once again, pretty obvious which one of those movies is better. Like,
But
even
then
if you
again,
like Iron Man more than Batman, even if you like Marvel more than DC, those movies are objectively better than the Iron Man movies.
exactly. And and that's the thing. But here's the other thing is that
And then
Zack
Christopher
Snyder,
Nolan took his ball and went home.
exactly. Zack Snyder, what Zack Snyder is a visual storyteller, okay? Look at 300. 300 is for me, that's a great movie. It's not historically accurate whatsoever, but Zack Snyder is a visual
You mean
person,
the
okay?
Persians did not try to invade Greece?
No, no, that happened, but certain aspects were kind of fabricated for the movie. One day I'll get into that. But anyways, Zack Snyder is a visual person, right? He to me doesn't strike me as a storyteller. And when you're trying to set up a universe and build a universe around set characters, you need a good storyteller to frame your characters out and to build this world. And the combination of the WB or Warner Bros. Wanting to rush and catch up to the MCU and Zack Snyder having his own fucking wacky vision of what he wanted for this universe and make it dark and make it gritty conflicted. And that is the problem. And swinging it back around to the Snyder cut, you're not going to fix what the problems were with the previous film by making a fucking cut that's fucking 4 hours long.
I ain't got that kind of time.
Yeah. And LB, I salute you. You speak facts. He says 300 is 300 a classic, a man movie. Yes. 1000%. I've seen that movie so many fucking times. You cannot tell me the greatest fucking line in history, in fucking movie history. Well, there's probably been more. I know people will get all pissy, whatever. Fuck it, I'm on a roll. You can't tell me when he kicks that fucker down the well and says, "This is Sparta." Not everyone in my theater went fucking crazy. Like when he's like, "This is Sparta," and fucking kicks him into the chest. I was like, yo, I had never seen up to the point, and I've seen a lot of fucking movies. I've never seen a man kick another man down a well and yell, "This is Sparta," in a long ass slow-mo drop scene. Like that was great. And let's
Yeah, it's
and the
beautiful.
slow-mo and the slow-mo shit and stuff. I mean, Zack Snyder contributed a lot. I take nothing away from the man, but I'm just saying, to swing it back to this cut, folks, it doesn't fix the story issues. It doesn't fix the fact that he was drafting off the original story he started, which was shit. It was crap. Okay, let's be real. You can't tell me that BVS set up this great magnum opus that would be Justice League. All you're doing is you're getting a retooled version of the same shit, a 4-hour version of added scenes. And if fuck continuity, you can't even connect this to anything. PB, let me ask you something. Is it not going to be confusing as fuck trying to piece together where this all fits? It's not even connected to the new universe.
I know. Thank you. Now I can finally make this point, and then maybe we can move on to something that matters. Ha!
Yeah.
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 So everybody, this movie is gonna come out, and all of the Snyder fans are gonna be, "Look at this masterpiece. It's beautiful." And then I'll be like, "Okay," except there's one fatal, fatal flaw with your movie. It's not canon, and it doesn't matter to anything or anyone because it's not connected to anything. It's a one-off story that is connected to previous characters but doesn't connect to anything going forward. So it's like, hey, here's this universe that, let's say, for the sake of argument, you've fallen in love with and you love all of the characters. And then you get to watch this movie and you're like, yeah, see what happens. This is what's supposed to happen. I'll be like, yeah, except it ain't what happened because this whole thing is essentially a dream sequence that ain't real because it's not canon because it's not in the DC universe or in the DCEU. It's an alternate reality. So you can go ahead and live in your alternate reality, Justice League, with your dark, dark Snyder cut, and I'll just live in normal reality with the characters that matter, with all the same
Exactly.
actors. I can still love Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Superman. Like, I don't have to love the movie to love the character. Like, I think Henry Cavill does a great job, even though, like, Superman ain't going to be out destroying a truck. Like, he's a Boy Scout. That's what he's supposed to be. That's why they call him a Boy Scout. Boy Scouts don't destroy semis with trees, but whatever.
And here's the thing. I want to bring up one more thing before we get off this Snyder cut, because God, we spent a
God
fucking
damn it.
hour on this. Yeah. And this comes to us, and why I gotta bring this up, PB, because you know how much I love this publication. And I'm not gonna read the whole fucking article because I'm gonna wind up getting mad and fucking throwing my phone. But um Collider, those fucking shills, they came out with the biggest fucking uh just I fucking hate them. So the title of this article, just to frame where Collider's mind is at, and this is from 10 hours ago, from Drew Tyler, says, "Why releasing the Justice League
Never heard of
Snyder
him.
Cut?" Yeah, yeah, of course we haven't, because they're a bunch of fucking hack writers. But why releasing the Justice League Snyder Cut sets a dangerous precedent. First off, I don't see, okay, if Snyder fans want to live in their fucking fantasy world, that's great. I'm glad you're getting your thing. But why does this set a dangerous precedent? Because fans are getting what they want? Because uh you feel like, I don't know. These are the same people who bashed the movie. But anyways, I digress. Um, they said, well, it happened. Zack Snyder has a cut of his failed, just look at the way this is written, because these guys are such fucking shills. I'm pretty sure they're getting it up the ass from someone. I don't know who, but it's whoever doesn't like this movie. Well, it happens. Zack Snyder's cut of his failed superhero team up Justice League will see release on Warner's Media's direct-to-consumer streaming platform HBO Max sometime in 2021. Members of this movement have been heckling Warner Brothers to release this version of the movie. See it as a giant win. Everyone else should be worried what this means for the rest of cinema. I mean, they're so fucking dramatic. They think that releasing this movie is the end of cinema as we know it. The saga of Snyder's Justice League starts long before the internet began crying out for the Snyder Cut. The production of the movie was fraught, and Warner Brothers started second guessing every decision to go all in on Snyder's Batman versus Superman, become a commercial disappointment and a critical disaster. An original plan for 2 Justice League movies was reduced down to 1, and the shape of the DC extended universe. Warner Bros. Attempt at a Marvel-style series of interconnected films grew foggier and less divine. Eventually, Snyder left the project in the wake of personal tragedy. They replaced Snyder with Joss Whedon, the writer and director of Avengers and its sequel, who had a few short months to do the unthinkable: fix a giant cruise ship with a busted hull that was quickly taking on water. Fans imagined that the rough cut of Zack Snyder submitted to the studio was better than the one released in theaters November 2017. They shared the hashtag on Twitter, brought billboards in California and New York, few planes with giant signs that said release the Snyder Cut trailing behind it. They even got corporations like Subway to contribute to the cause. Worst of all, they cloaked their activities, which grew into more public nuisance under the worst of their of the shadow of charity. They regularly contributed to suicide prevention foundations, which on the outset seems noble, but was really a way to conceal what they were actually doing, bullying everyone else.
Huh?
Yeah. These fucking people at Collider. Uh, I'll get to it when we get done. They bullied those who suggested that maybe Snyder's version, which required tens of millions of dollars to finish, and audios and visuals might actually be worse than the original version. Who would rather watch a half-finished movie anyways? The skeptics wondered. They bullied those who thought that the theatrical release version was good. No one thought that. Jesus Christ. But most of all, they bullied Warner Brothers, who clearly went completely different direction from what Zack had planned. According to reports from the New York Times, Whedon wrote 80 pages of material. Fans of the industry began asking everyone involved with the film what they thought about Snyder Cut and whether or not that it should be seen. One of the most vocal supporters of the movement on Twitter described the movie by Warner Brothers as sabotage, failing to acknowledge the version of Snyder had submitted was so good, then Warner Bros. Would probably, released it in the first place. As Snyder eventually began stoking the movement, so did several stars from the film, including Ben Affleck, Jason Momoa, Henry Cavill, and Gal Gadot. It seemed like a profound waste of everyone's time, and further evidence that the only tool in this movement's arsenal was aggression, unpleasant forcefulness. The fact is, Warner Brothers has not only acknowledged the incredibly obnoxious fans' uproar, but also agreed to, per their demands, release the Snyder Cut is mystifying and potentially dangerous. The message is clear. If you bitch and moan enough, chances are the studio might not only hear you, but agree with you. The fan uproar, which was at the very least annoying, and at the very worst, especially on Twitter, actively threatening and vindictive, their methods have been approved. Everything that they propose, because Warner Bros. Has finally given in to them and what they want, have seen the shadow of release the shadow cut, Snyder Cut movement rear its ugly head. Recently, with the release of Star Wars: Rise of Trash, fans convinced that J.J. Abrams had original cut that was far superior to the Disney Kathleen Kennedy release into theaters began whining to release the J.J. cut. I've talked to several people involved with that film who said that it was a trial to get any cut ready for December release. So the idea that an entirely separate version exists is laughable. Like any good conspiracy theory, the fact is that it couldn't be true. It doesn't really matter. The idea that Snyder or Abrams have toiled away at an unseen masterpiece is ultimately more comforting than the reality of the situation that they made noisy and messy movies. For a long time, the movement raged. Warner Brothers has done the right thing and simply ignored them. The internet already gave them a voice when they shouldn't have had one. Yesterday, the studio gave them something that they never expected but always craved: legitimacy. And now we're screwed. Fans displeased by perceived slights will now be insufferable. Not only will they demand alternate versions of movies more often, but their rhythmic, their I don't know what the fuck that is, will infect the release of these cuts in DC properties. If Warner Brothers thought that they would quiet them down, it won't. If anything, it will amplify their voices. The entitlement is already unbearable. You always feel for creative talent involved in trying to fix Snyder's problems, from Whedon's to countless other artists and technicians who have labored day and night for the release dates. It also won't be fun for Matt Reeves, director of the forthcoming The Batman, to be asked questions about the versions of the characters while he's working in his own established universe. And it would be wise to remember that this is not the case of an artist
Nah,
and
man,
his
we need the Snyder cut of the Batman.
midway through competing masterpieces. Justice League is incorporated product, one designed to sell Happy Meals and bed sheets to pave the way to additionally equal unambitious projects. Snyder agreed to provide something that would something and didn't follow through. Now Warner Brothers is going back on its commitment and instead giving fans something. It's unclear now if it will be a movie. It could be a miniseries. Warner Bros. Has been bullied. Worst of all, not that their behavior regarding Snyder's dismissal was all that admirable, and they respond in kind. Here, just have it. Now leave me alone. But
Oh
bullies
my God, what the fuck are you doing, Cat?
but bullies are never done. They'll be back, and they'll have to pay for it. So here's the thing. I don't agree with these statements necessarily. I find it that this is always the default statement, right? They say, "Oh,
Like, how are
when
people
people."
gonna ask for alternate cuts of movies when there isn't alternate cuts of movies? That's a huge flaw in the premise of this article. Like, there's not a whole lot of movies out there where there's an entirely different cut that's double the length. Are you kidding me?
like, here's the thing. Whether or not this was all bullshit or whether he's constructing something new, that's besides the point. We can have our own opinions of that. But what I don't agree with is the critics using this as a point that people who come online and voice their opinion are all a bunch of fucking assholes. This is that same bullshit. And this is the thing that pisses me off, because you're going to have one side and the other going to extremes. You're going to have one side going, we got a victory over it, we're going to get a great movie, and that's probably not going to happen. But you're going to have the other side coming out going, oh, this is what happens when we listen to trolls and people in their mother's basements and stuff like that. No, we heard that there might be a different version. It could be better. It could be worse. But, people listening to
No,
fans,
it could be better. It will be worse.
I mean, but the overall gist is people listening to fans, that's not a bad thing either. I mean, granted, okay, we've
Yeah, it
heard
worked
Sonic,
out so terribly with Sonic.
exactly. We've heard people say, oh, this is compared to Sonic. What? That Sonic did a whole hell of a lot better because the directors actually cared about what their future fans said? I mean, whether you like or
Yeah,
hate that
and
movie,
it's not the same. That movie hadn't released yet either. Like, are you kidding me? I don't know how you can say those two things are the same. It's not like you
exactly.
saw a trailer for Justice League and is like, hey, I know the entire plot of the movie and you guys have to change it. No, we all saw the trailer and went, oh, Batman, Superman, making the Justice League come together finally? Awesome. Then we saw the movie
Yeah,
and we went, oh, I was wrong.
yeah. I mean, this is apples and oranges. And to say, they're making comparisons to Star Wars. Let's be real, okay? Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy and all of them, they never fucking listened to the fans. Where do you correlate that these two things have anything to do with each other? Because Lucas, Disney, as I like to call them, didn't fucking listen. And let me ask you something. What was the returns on those movies? Uh, how well did they do? How well liked are they? Not very much, because they don't listen to their fans. It's not the same. It's not the same fucking argument. Not whatsoever. We're talking about the fact that on the Star Wars side, you had people who said, fuck the fans blatantly, didn't listen to them whatsoever. This is a different scenario, okay? Maybe there's an original cut, maybe there isn't. That's not the point. The point is that, well, fine. We'll see what Zach has, and we'll give him his fucking cut. We'll hush these people, whatever. Let's just see how it all pans out. It's a moneymaker, okay? Because people want to see it. Now they're saying we're just
Nah,
a bunch of
man, it's a
whiny.
money. No, they will make absolutely zero money off of this. In fact, they will lose money if they're going to spend 20 to 30 million dollars and put it out on HBO Max because I'm pretty sure, not 100%, I could be wrong, wouldn't be the first time. Every single other streaming service gives you anywhere between a week and with QB 90 days for a free trial. So if you want to see the Snyder cut when it comes out, all you got to do is sign up for that free trial, watch the movie, hit cancel. They just wasted $30 million and we all saw it for free.
Yes, yes,
This movie
there's.
will not get people to stick around and pay for HBO Max so they can watch it unlimitedly till the end of time.
I mean, I feel like that's an argument for another day, but the point being with this whole fan thing, I hate how these magazines and these articles equate this, uh, with them actually wanting to do something for fans. And here's the thing that these articles seem to have missed and forgotten. Fans and people who go to your movies give you fucking money. I don't understand this attack on people who spend money to go and see this shit. People who spend money to get these streaming services and things like that. Because yes, there is an argument to be made. Most of us cheap fucks will cancel the subscription. I know I will. But on the flip side of that, there will be people who will keep the subscription for other content and things like that. Maybe they like something else on HBO. Who the fuck knows? But they'll keep their subscription, right? So some will make money, some you'll lose. But the overall point is, I don't see this as a big, oh my God, now fans are going to request everything gets a fucking Snyder cut. That's not going to happen.
No.
It's just, there's not going to be a domino effect of people going, oh my God, fucking, I don't know, pick a movie.
I didn't ask for a Snyder cut of The Last Jedi. I didn't ask for that.
No, we just asked for a good Last Jedi. We won't ever fucking see that.
Like, we don't want an alternate cut. We want you to erase and start completely over. That's not an alternate cut. That's not what that means. Alternate cut means you're using the base of what you have.
Exactly. And, on the flip side of this is fucking ridiculous that you're going to have all of these fucking rags and these fucking tabloid hacks and these people who are fucking subpar writers who are going to say, yeah, I'm not wrong here.
I was reading the comments.
Yeah,
the Lonely
I know.
Banter said, release the Zod cut. Oh, never mind. He did get cut in Man of Steel.
You know what? I know I got my neck snap. I will never forgive Zack Snyder for that. Every time I go on, I'm always going to hear, you got your neck broke. I refuse to believe that Superman was a Boy Scout. Anyways, I digress. But, we spent enough time on this. Look, no matter which side of the argument, I don't co-sign. I don't co-sign one side or the other because I feel like if you speak out against this, you're going to have the people who are going to come out and say, oh, you're with the studio, blah, blah, blah. You want to hold us down. Snyder's a god, whatever. And if you side with blah, 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 I don't care one way or the other. I just want a good fucking movie. I mean, is that too much to ask? A good film. Beginning, middle, and end. That's, I mean.
Yes, that's far too much.
But, let's get on to our big news, because we're talking all things DC tonight, people.
We talked about this for a fucking hour and a half.
I know. I knew this was a big one. This was like 2 of our 4 articles. So, Zod's got to work. But we're going on to the next thing, the thing that you suffered through and I'm just suffering through. We're going to talk about Batwoman. We've had some major developments, and it would appear that their flagship might be sinking faster than the fucking Titanic. And look, I just want to get this out of the right way. I don't in any way, shape, or form blame Ruby Rose for the epic colossal failure. Look, Ruby Rose might not have acted the best in this show, but I will say one thing. I have seen Ruby Rose in other movies that have, directors and writers, and she does a good job when she's told what to do. And it would appear on Batwoman, she was told to act like Brie Larson, and she does that fucking masterfully. And now it would appear Ruby Rose.
Brie Larson's a lesbian? That pains you very much, doesn't
it? So we're going to get to this, and they said that Ruby Rose exited, but they threw out this thing that she was injured on set. Okay, she was injured on set, but
she abandoned ship before I did.
But there was a disagreement. And I feel like Ruby Rose might have said, you know what? This show is shit. You are fucking tanking my career and I'm out. And I don't fucking blame her for that, because when you look at Stargirl and you have fucking Luke Wilson on Stargirl, and then you look at fucking Batwoman and you have a fucking villain who's better than any of the cast on that show. What the fuck is the name of that villain? Alice, right?
You're
Right?
talking about
Alice?
Alice?
Yeah. She's probably the single best thing on that show, right? You have one good character on that whole entire show that's outshadowing and outperforming your main lead. You have a problem. So I'm going to dive into this article. Why Batwoman star Ruby Rose left the series. This comes to us from Variety magazine. And it says, Ruby Rose surprise
Ooh, a
exit.
real source.
Oh yeah. Tonight is real sources. We're not half-assing it here. We're doing real fucking sources. Ruby Rose surprise exit from the CW series Batwoman. I'm sorry, Woman. Stemmed from an ill fit between star and production. So let me just highlight that. An ill fit between the star and production, meaning the production was shit. And anyone who's watched the first fucking episode, which was boring as shit, and then, oh my God, just that show is everything you need to fail in writing. Just watch that fucking show. Anyways, according to multiple sources, Ruby
You're
Rose was
watching it
unhappy.
wrong. It's a comedy.
I know, it's a bad comedy, PB. I will never get behind that statement. Anyways, according to multiple sources, Ruby Rose was unhappy with the long hours required of her as series lead, which led to friction on set, which I don't buy, because she was in Orange is the New Black, and I gotta believe that those fucking hours were long as shit. I mean, it's shot as one continuous show. You know, you binge watch that. So you're telling me she can do that show, she can fucking do John Wick, but she has a problem shooting Batwoman? I don't buy it. But anyways, it was thus decided by her and the network studios, Warner Bros. Television, that they were to part ways. Reps for Ruby and Warner Brothers and the CW declined to comment. Rose's time on Batwoman marked the first TV starring role of her career. She previously appeared on Netflix Orange is the New Black and has appeared in supporting roles for several films to date. Given the sudden nature of it, speculation has been rampant as to the reason why Ruby Rose has exited the series. It is speculated that it had something to do with pain associated from emergency surgery Rose underwent for 2 herniated discs. But the source familiar with the situation tells Variety that Rose's decision had nothing to do with her health or injury. Rose has been open about her mental health issues in the past. Back in October, she posted on Instagram, "I've struggled with mental health issues my entire life." She went on to say that she attempted suicide multiple times and has been hospitalized on several different times in her life. In a statement announcing Rose's departure, the studio, network, and fuck that, something production said they would be seeking a new lead member in the LGBTQ community in the coming months. Because that's what we need. Batwoman
You can
was
just call them quilt bags.
Batwoman was released or renewed for a second season back in January. The show centers around Kay Kane, and you know the rest. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think that she, like, out of all the actresses that comment on all this shit, and I could be wrong, but I've read articles and shit leading up to this, she's never been one of those types to come out and go, you know what? I'm so happy because this is a role for the lesbian community and all this. she just did her job, and she did it poorly. But she didn't make any side comments, okay? She had nothing to say politically about the show, okay? And I think that the fact that the CW clearly wanted those politics in the show caused a division in, her staying in the show. I mean, am I wrong? Because they heavily lay on that shit in
I
that show. Like,
mean, yeah, they probably wanted her to be out there more so in the quilt bag community.
and if I'm not mistaken, she says she's bisexual, right? So she doesn't really co-sign one way or the other. And, here's the thing.
Right, yeah. So they had a problem with that. She wasn't lesbian enough to be Batwoman. That was the problem before the show started. And I was like, I don't need Batwoman, the actor, to be lesbian at all if you're going to be kissing women on film and showing it to me. I don't care if the actor is gay in real life. That doesn't matter. You just have to make me believe that the character in the story is gay if you're telling me that they're gay. That's all that matters is what happens in the story. I don't care about your real fucking life. You're an actor.
Exactly. And here's the thing, and Gary North said something that made me say the statement, because he says maybe she got a better offer from Pornhub. One can only hope. But anyways, here's the thing.
My wife would be
She
watching that channel if Ruby Rose was on Pornhub.
Oh, all day, every day.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think that she
And they
was
all Ruby Rose have sex with each other. That'd be great.
I think that
yeah.
she was fine with playing a lesbian character. No problems with that. But I think the way the CW wanted to hammer home the politics was her disagreement. I mean, am I wrong? Because it seems pretty fucking suspicious that, I mean, look at those last episodes. For fuck's sake, they said they had an episode, wasn't it a gay day in the neighborhood or some shit? It was like episode 11 or something, where she came out as
Yeah.
Batwoman, as a lesbian. And I was saying, hey, I don't have a
You
problem
had
with
to
these
make
scenes.
sure to let everybody know that Batwoman is a lesbian.
Like, okay, let's just flip this. Okay, let's just flip this. Let's just say that Bruce Wayne came out and said, you know what? I haven't gotten with Selena Kyle because I just need me some dick. All right. Let's just say that happened. Now,
Jesus Christ.
no, and I'm illustrating a point here. If Bruce Wayne came out and said he was gay, does that
Yeah, I
change?
get that.
Does that change?
You don't need
the
to say it
fucking-
again.
Does that change the story? Knowing Bruce Wayne likes it Brokeback Mountain style, does that make you like the Dark Knight even more?
Jesus Christ.
No! You don't give a shit either way. Just because Bruce Wayne is getting it cowboy style doesn't mean that you're going to go, you know what? I really fucking liked Batman's dark edginess, but being that he came out and said,
Fucking A,
I like
don't
taking it off
want
the
to.
butt.
I don't want to think about Batman being bareback man.
I mean, I'm just saying, they make it sound like that her being lesbian is the
Fucking A, man. No.
coup de grace.
No, he
This
has a
is-
thing for Catwoman. No.
I know, I just shattered your whole dream, but I mean, here's the
Cats
thing.
and bats, man. Cats and bats.
This doesn't, nothing changes just because of sexual orientation, okay? Just swinging it back around to our first discussion of Game of Thrones, there was a lot of fucking
Changes
orgies.
everything. He probably gets an erection when he's branding those guys now.
I mean, there was a lot of shit going on there, but never once did I say, you know what? I love how they incorporate both male and females in these scenes. That made Game of Thrones the most edgy and awesome show. That's not how people think. Okay? You can have a lesbian
No,
character.
man.
That doesn't bring up your fucking stock. That brings up the intrigue for a minute. But then when you fucking watch the show and realize how fucking ridiculous it is, then you're not going to sit there and watch it for 50 fucking minutes and suffer for
I
one
was
fucking
never
girl on girl
extra
scene.
intrigued. Yeah, I was never extra intrigued by any of the sexually deviant acts that were happening in Game of Thrones. And that was what allegedly was giving it its intrigue. No, I was intrigued by the magic, and you can die at any point because when you kill off the main character in season 1 and you're like, wait a second, I thought that, wait, you killed Ned Stark? What? Okay, well, I guess the story will continue on. I guess the main character is Robb Stark. Wait, you kill Robb Stark? Okay, well, I guess the main character is Jon Snow. What? You killed Jon? Oh, you didn't kill Jon Snow. Ooh, magic.
Yeah, I mean, there is a thing to be said. There is a thing to be said about good writing, and this show, you know, remember back when we were talking about Superwoman, and I said to you, PB, this show is so fucking feminist. I hate the shit out of this show. I actually sat back on Netflix and watched Superwoman, and I watched Batwoman, and I said, you know what? In hindsight, Superwoman isn't that fucking bad. I mean, and that at the time was the most fucking nauseating feminist propaganda bullshit that I had seen on the CW in a while. And to actually make me watch that show and go, I could catch up on this. Like, how bad of a show do you have to
Yep.
construct for that to happen?
Well, I mean, bad enough that you got the main character to abandon ship before everyone else. Because I feel you might not be too far off the mark when you said that she's like, hey, man, I hear what's, being said about this show. I see what the ratings are. Like, this is not good. So I'm going to leave now before this whole thing just blows up. So, deuces.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When the thing that I think that the CW is failing to realize, okay, let's go into the Arrowverse, and I'm gonna fucking call it the Arrowverse now and forever. Fuck you, every other show. It's the Arrowverse. Arrow started it. Y'all can eat a dick if you don't accept it. But anyways, let's go to the Arrowverse, right? At no point did you have Stephen Amell go, you know what? Man, season 3 is rough. People aren't liking this Raj Al Ghul. Fuck it. I gotta abandon ship. He stuck with that shit. I mean, look at that final. Look at the final season of Arrow. I would say that they did him dirty in that final season. And LB is here. He would agree with us. Like, he didn't even watch that show all the way through, but he watched that final and he said, man, I feel bad for you Arrow fans, right? Even in the midst of that shitty, fucking terrible finale, he, like a boss, stood firm and stood by his show. Because he was like, you know what? I started this shit. I'm going to end this shit for better or for worse.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick with my show. Right to the end, right? And you have Ruby Rose, who after one season, cut down the episodes. And she said, I'm out.
Right. She was like, man, they wanted to do 22 episodes. We only did 20, and it was that tough. Yeah, this ain't for me. You want me to do this season after season? I gotta get out of here. Because yeah, I think Stephen Amell, he would have played Arrow. God, it seemed like he would have played it for the next 10 years if, they could afford him at that point. Like, he loved playing that character.
And that's the thing. When you have good writers, and you have good directors who give a fuck about the characters. And look, I'm not talking about comic book accurate. 90% of Arrow was not comic book accurate whatsoever, but I loved every fucking minute of it. Even the bad seasons. I loved it because there was
I didn't love the scene when William tells him he's gay. It was lame.
No, I'm not. I guess I gotta exclude the last season, but for the most part, I loved Arrow. Okay, even the prison one and all that. Okay, I followed it all the way through.
The prison season was good.
It was good. It was great. But here's the thing: we followed it, right? Because we could see, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. We could see that there was a passion from the people in that show, for better or for worse, through the shittiest arcs. The people loved everything that they did, right? And that translates onto the screen. They loved doing what they do. There was a passion for it, and no one ever phoned it in. And then you watch Batwoman, and it's like watching that writing and directing. And I honestly, I don't really blame Ruby Rose for the deliverance of her lines and the performance, because she wasn't given anything to work with. What was she given? You know?
I mean, she was given a bat suit and allegedly the Bat Cave, which I still think is Bat Cave B because it's under the tower and not under the manor, but that's for a different day.
Yeah, we could go on about the flaws in that show. But I mean, everything about this show was poorly constructed. And you're telling me that you want to keep someone who, let's be real, I mean, Ruby Rose was in John Wick 2. And I love, y'all know, if you've been on a channel, you know how I fucking feel about John Wick, okay? That's a fucking masterpiece. But anyways, she was in John Wick, okay? She's in actual movies. And you're telling me that this shoddy writing is supposed to keep a person who's done actual Hollywood films with competent writers. You're telling me you're going to keep her for an extended period of time when the ratings have dipped so low that there's not even a reason why this fucking show should even get a second season. Like, that alone baffles my fucking mind. Like, I know CW pretty much renews everything, but how the fuck that show got a second season, I will never figure out. I don't know if you got an answer, PP, because I have no fucking clue how that show even obtained a second season.
I mean, I'm guessing I don't know like hardly any of the other actors in the show. I don't know any of them from anything else, so I assume their production cost is relatively cheap as far as paying the actors and all of the equipment. They have most of it from, I mean, you could recycle a lot of the stuff that you had from Arrow and, you know, repaint some walls here, redesign a little there. Boom, you got a whole new set. Like, there's some easy things that you can do to save money. So if you're getting ratings that are comparable to the other shows, as in Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, The Flash, Black Lightning, that's all it takes to get renewed. And I'm pretty sure that even with their terrible reviews that Batwoman gets, their ratings are still at least on par with Legends of Tomorrow, which got renewed. And their budget has got to be probably a little higher because they got to do all of the time travel stuff. So their wardrobe budget is higher. Like, they got new costumes all the time. Ruby Rose is in the same fucking costume every episode.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When doing the due diligence for finding out about this shit on the show, it is actually only the fourth highest rated show on the CW. So you got to wonder what shows, being that Arrow is no longer gone, on the CW, what shows take the first, second, and third spot over Batwoman.
Well, I know the
So
Flash has higher ratings than it. I think Supergirl does, and then I don't know, maybe it's Riverdale or something like that. Like I don't know what the other one is. I'd have to look it up. I don't know
exactly,
if it's probably not a connected to their universe because I know it's not Black Lightning and I know it's not Legends.
no. Although Legends is criminally underrated, John Constantine for life. But anyways, um, you know, this is the thing. I think that this was a smart move by her. And, you know, this is the funny part about the whole thing. I think that she made a good move if she was the one who initiated this in saying, you know what? I'm fucking done. First off, she got a fucking herniated disc on set of this show. Now, when you think about the fact that she was in John Wick and that fight scene looked fucking more real than anything this show has done. She was in that movie Megalodon, you know, with the giant shark, and all the other movies and shows she's guest starred in and all this. And Batwoman was the one show she's gotten injured on set twice on the set. I mean, clearly the production
Right, and
value is
she used to
lower.
be in prison.
Yeah, Orange is the New Black. She got fucking shivved. I mean, there was far more dangerous stunts that she's done, and a show like Batwoman is the show she gets hurt. So clearly, there's lower production, there's lower quality. They obviously don't give a shit about protecting their actors. I mean, let me just ask you something, because both me and you have probably been following these CW shows longer than anyone else. How many actors have you heard that have come out and said on their respective show that they've gotten a fucking injury off of them? I mean, I'm talking Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, fucking Arrow. They did a scene where he fucking like zip lines through a fucking glass window and a helicopter explodes and shit like that. And I don't remember anyone coming out and saying they got seriously injured on set of their shows. Not once.
Yeah, I never heard any articles or heard anything where they said that they had to like stop production or take a break because somebody got injured or anything like that. Granted, I hadn't been like on the internet in this capacity when those shows started, so maybe something happened in the earlier seasons and I wasn't privy to it. So we're talking out of our asses right now. So what a shocker. But yeah, not that I can remember. Like,
I mean,
these shows are not that old, talking about Legends and Supergirl, at least on CW, because it was on CBS for a couple of years.
let's go to like I follow Supernatural, right? They're in their fucking, I don't know, 13th fucking 14th season, right? And I've watched
Like
like
16, but whatever.
yeah, it's up there, right? And I've watched the DVDs. I have the first couple of seasons on DVD, all the way up to 5, because that's when I feel like the show should have ended. Um, they have had outtakes and shit like that where they've like slammed their hand in the car door and stuff like that, and you hear like Dean swear, because there was a part where like he slams the door and he slams it in his fingers, and they like have a cut, and he's like, ah, fuck, son of a bitch, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, a little bullshit that they put on a blooper reel. But I've never like, even long running shows like that, I never heard of someone getting a fucking herniated disc on set. of any of these shows. So it really
No,
speaks
that
to
happens
the
to regular
quality.
people.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, none of the main cast I've heard of being actually fucking really physically injured from any of the stunts or anything that they had to do. And it really speaks to the quality of the show that someone actually gets a fucking herniated disc on their fucking shoe. You're not just talking about, okay, their reputation is hurting. Now you're talking about they're hurting their career. And she actually has offers from like movies and shit. So, she's shooting this show and she'll probably do it like, how they do a movie in between while they're waiting in between seasons. So, I mean, you're
Right.
talking about someone who's a star who has other offers and they get fucking injured on a TV show. There's that too, you know?
Yeah, there's only so much job security that you're looking at where you're like, yeah, I can get my money through this contract, or I can stop doing this, stop, possibly getting injured, continuously getting injured, and go back to making movies where I'm fighting dogs and not getting injured.
Yeah, exactly. Which one would you take? Oh, I do big Hollywood films and then guest
Because
spots
she's
on
definitely
TV
going to get
shows?
cast in something. Like, just because you quit being Batwoman doesn't mean you're not going to get cast in something else.
Yeah, it's just, and I wanted to bring this up because I know that we've been following this tragedy, and look, this show is terrible. This show is fucking horrendous. I mean, yes, PB, we could look at it
No,
as
it's
a
a bad drama, but it's a good comedy. I
comedy.
never
Yes, I
seen a
know.
superhero let the villain go more times in my life.
Exactly. So, I mean, folks, take it as you will. Me personally, I think she made a great choice. I have no ill will against Ruby Rose. I feel like she's taking a lot of shit, unnecessary shit, for taking a part that she thought would help her career. And, this wasn't one of those shows. This wasn't fucking Arrow. I mean, and here's the thing that I've heard 1,000 times from reviewers, and I agree, this show had so much potential, and this proves you can have
Yep.
the tools to have a good show, but if you don't have the writers, that show is going to suck. I mean,
No, man, you
look at
you you got to do the analogy right. You're supposed to say you can have the tools in the tool belt, but if you don't know how to throw them, they're useless.
yes, exactly. Exactly. So, let's go to a good show. Let's fucking talk, dude. And I
Ooh,
was
a
I was
good
talking.
show.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I was talking to you about this before we went on
So it
air.
must not be a DC show because all we ever do is shit on DC.
No, man, I'm being followed by the official DC Twitter site. Just so you guys know.
Oh shit, son.
Yeah, General Zod got a fucking notification, and this is real because it's got the fucking blue check mark. Apparently, fucking DC is following me. I can message them and everything. So, like, I don't know how the fuck. I was joking with my DC Universe plugs, but I feel like someone somewhere was fucking watching me, and they were like, "Oh, General Zod. Did we create a Zod? Maybe. Let's follow him." So I got fucking DC following me on Twitter. But
Well, they
yeah,
indirectly created a General Zod.
yeah, they'll probably realize that I'm just some asshole who comes up and says ridiculous shit. They might still endorse me. But anyways, um, yeah, so let's talk about something that's actually good and mad props. Here's my shameless plug. Go out and get DC Universe right now, $7.99, and you get a month free now of the DC Universe, and it's worth it. You get comics and all the great shows, including the new show Stargirl. So let's talk. First off, I want to say go to
Oh,
Profits.
Stargirl.
Oh yeah, let's go to Profits of Geek Culture. Check out Mr. Pop Culture PB's review of Stargirl. It was great. Your thoughts mirrored a lot about
The
a lot
review
of
is
mine.
not on that channel, you putz.
Oh, that's right. It's on your regular channel. You should put it on the Profits of Geek Culture. Anyways, go check out PB's own channel because he's a selfish prick. And see the Stargirl review. See the Stargirl review. Um, PB, everything you said in that review, I fucking felt the same exact way. Like, first off, let's talk about something. People don't mistake this. This is not a CW show. CW showed it, but this is a DC Universe property. And you want to know how I know that? Because they have Luke Wilson in the fucking show and Amy Smart. And I can tell you right now, the CW does not have the budget to afford either of those actors. like the if
Them are
it
some name actors right there. You know who those people are.
yeah, there's no way that CW comes up to Luke Wilson or Amy Smart and goes, "Hey, we're creating a show. You want to be in it? We got Ruby Rose now. She's big." They'd be like, "Nah, I'm good." But yeah, let's talk a little bit about this show, dude. Stargirl, man, the opening. You know what? You were so jazzed up. Give people a little bit of a preview, a little snippet. What did you think about that opening for this show? It was fucking amazing.
Dude, the opening, like, the one thing I love the most about the opening, the show is called Stargirl, and the entire first scene is about Starman. Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you guys don't know, I'm gonna drop some DC comic book nerd stuff on you. Stargirl actually got her power from Starman, who dies in a battle, and the cane or whatever activates. It doesn't matter whether it's a guy or girl. It's just who's ever
It's the
fucking shows up.
cosmic staff.
Whatever, the cosmic staff, it gets activated by who's ever in the lineage or the next in line, kind of like a Green Lantern ring. It chooses the wielder. And this opening scene, I mean, dude, just off the opening scene alone, you could tell the budget for this is much better. Like, this didn't, like, CW hosted this episode. It did not feel like anything the CW makes. Am I wrong? I mean, the acting, the fucking direction, none of it felt like a CW show. Maybe like Arrow in its second season.
No, like Arrow did a good job at the beginning of keeping their stuff small enough that they could use real effects. So you could use real fire and real explosions in the background and stuff like that. But in the opening scene of this one, yeah, you can use real explosions and stuff, except the fire burning is green. Like, that ain't real, man. That was all fake. And it looked entirely real everywhere. The whole freaking building, I don't know what building they were in, it's just getting blown to freaking bits. And then who flies in? Joel McHale. Like, Joel McHale is a superhero now. That's confirmed. And then what I said in the review, I was like, well, if Paul Rudd can do it, anybody can do it, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, here's the thing. Luke Wilson is not a bad actor. I feel like he's been like every movie he's in, I feel like he kind of gets overshadowed by the cast. He's one of those people who's low key, kind of in the background,
I
doing his
mean,
thing.
not in Idiocracy. He definitely is the star in that movie.
Oh yeah, 110%. But I mean, just think about that. Like, Luke Wilson is in this show, and you know, we haven't had enough episodes, but I gotta say, in this first episode, he's pretty fucking good in this show. Like, it hinges on his name, him and Amy Smart, and they're pretty fucking good in this show. I mean, they're really like they're really good. Very compelling stuff.
Yep. And then, I mean, you get past the opening fight scene, which, God, it had to last like, it was a solid 8, 9 minutes, which is pretty long for a TV fight scene. That's like
Yeah.
almost like what, quarter of the show? A little less than a quarter of the show?
Yeah, just about.
It's like an eighth of the show. It's like an eighth of the show. 15 minutes would be like, oh, it's like a third. So it's close, somewhere around there. And then, I mean, they cut to the main character finally getting introduced, being the appropriate age and not being a little kid anymore, because they were 10 years in the past. And then they're like, hey, let's be upset at Luke Wilson. And, the white man is going to be the bad guy. Like, everyone's going to be upset with the dad, and that's how they're going to play it off. And then instantly the mom is like, nah, man, like, this wasn't up to him. Like, I was the one that took this job, and he's opening up a car garage. Like, he's got his own business. And what the hell? She took a job. She's like a professor or something like that.
Yeah, like a professor or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. So, oh man, I thought that was great. I was like, so right off the bat, you don't have to worry about this being infested with any wokeness or political agenda per se. Like, that's what everybody is upset about with Batwoman, which it happens a fair amount of time where you're like, I don't understand why you're harping on this. Like you said before, they do an entire episode dedicated to letting us know that Batwoman is gay. Like, I don't care that much. You don't care that much. And you set something up in the story so that you could make a story out of it. Like, you're really pushing this. Like, you didn't have to do that, and you could have just organically let it play out. Like, you didn't have to do the whole, oh, well, we think that she's in a relationship with a man, so now she has to make it known that she isn't. You ain't got to worry about that shit in Stargirl at all. You only have to worry about the story, or at least that's what I got out of it. It's the only thing that I care about. Like, where it's, and they seem like they're going more along the lines of Arrow, where I don't know if they're going to have flashbacks, but I'm hoping that they do. And if they don't, that they'll at least talk about stuff that had happened, if not in the past, in the intervening 10 years. Because why in the hell are there a bunch of supervillains in Nebraska?
Yeah. It seems like, and here's the difference between this pilot and this is the closest comparison we got, but Batwoman's pilot. Batwoman's pilot. Now, I can get behind them focusing on a character who's your main character and setting up the flashbacks or whatever, but they did the flashbacks so lazy and so like half-hearted, right? Whereas this, they give us a big battle scene. They jump to the future, right? And she's moving to Nebraska, the future storyline, but they kind of leave it open. Like, it makes you curious, and it makes you realize that the writers are setting it up so that they can pull from that later, so that when we get these flashbacks, because they're going to flashback on Luke Wilson's character and what happened there. They're going to flashback on a couple of different things, but they don't want to give us everything right now, like good writing dictates. I mean, it's like night and day between these two products. And that's how I knew this was strictly a DC Universe show.
Well, I don't know, man. I can see how this show, it gives me the vibes of Arrow. Obviously, you're not gonna have the the darkness to it because of the style of hero that is the main character. Like, she's not going to be going around killing people on a list. That's not what her story is about. But the
And
way that the character is set up with the amount of growth that she's able to have, she gets her ass kicked in the first episode.
yeah, I want to highlight that. So when you're, and I'm doing compare and contrast because this is our CW portion and we're, Batwoman's the best comparison because we're going pilot for pilot here, right? When you look at Kay Kane, and this is the thing that mystified me about the final for Batwoman. She gets her ass kicked at the end of the season after what? She walks away from an explosion, being shot, being hit by a fucking car, everything possible. And some football player guy beats the fuck out of her in the final. Okay, that's her big
Yep.
obstacle, right? And really, by the end of it, she learns not a fucking thing. So there's no growth, and it's a complete giant fucking waste of time. In this show, the main character gets their ass beat right away, and they don't really understand all of the powers that they have at their disposal, like any good story should have. There is room for growth, whereas in Batwoman, they put a ceiling on her, and that's the biggest problem. They put a ceiling on their character because when you try to make a character perfect, it inherently makes it so that your story has no place to go. And that's the thing that mystifies me about these writers is you're limiting your character and you're putting yourself in a box where you can't progress your character any further because you made them fucking perfect. Where in this one, she's kind of like I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Stargirl was she was kind of like a real bitch. I mean, honestly, she's like blaming everyone. She doesn't like where she's at. The kind of normal shit that a normal person would be feeling when they have to move to Nebraska. Because who the fuck wants to live in Nebraska? So it's relatable. And these are the differences. And this is where you could tell that the writers actually see a long-term story and progression. I mean, am I wrong or that's what I got?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, she loses the first fight and she doesn't understand how stuff works. Like, you have to you can contrast it with Batwoman, contrast it with Ray. The staff is a lightsaber, let's say. Ray picks up that lightsaber and goes to town on somebody who's been trained in the light side and the dark side for what, 20 years? Roughly?
Yeah.
Maybe a little more? Like, he'd been training his ass off, and she picks this up for the first time ever, turns on, boom, knows how to use it like she's wiping her fucking ass. Like, it's fucking second nature. Whereas this girl picks up the staff and she's like, wait a second, what the hell's going on here? Literally pulls her out of the house. She don't know what's going on. And then she blows up a fucking car and she's like, what the hell, man? Like, I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to deflate the tires.
Yeah. Yo, I was laughing so hard because I'm like, dude, that person is going to be so pissed off. Like, yeah, she doesn't understand her power. And this is the thing, too. I'm not going to lie. When I first saw the character, I was like, oh my goodness, we're going to have the stereotypical blonde haired chick, beautiful, maybe ditzy. I don't know what the fuck to expect. But at the same time, she picks up the staff, doesn't understand shit, and she's really likable. Here's the thing, too. She's a likable character. Pretty much everybody on this show is likable. Like, I can't think of one person who was like, yeah, they're shitty.
No, like, all of the people, granted, it's only been one episode. All of the characters that you are supposed to like, you like, and all of the ones you're supposed to dislike, you dislike. Like, I understand that the the jocks are doing the cliche where the assholes at the school. I don't necessarily have a problem with cliches. Like, you find me a high school out there someplace where there isn't a group of jocks that are a couple of fucking assholes. Like, yeah, not all of them are, but I bet you can find a fucking handful that are. So yeah, go deflate their tires, but maybe not blow up their sweet ride.
Yeah.
And then I mean, watching it, I was a little disappointed in myself that I wasn't able to see what was coming, that the kid who was the asshole ended up being the child of what I'm guessing is going to be the villain of season 1, which is Brainwave.
Yeah. And here's the thing, Geekicidal Tendencies, just to put you in at ease. This is not a CW show. This premiered in conjunction with CW. This is a DC Universe show. You're only going to, well, no, they're doing a simulcasting, but it was specifically funded and made by the DC Universe. This was their flagship show, along with Titans and Swamp Thing and all the other shows. This was part of their slate. So, no, this is not a CW show. So, you know, if you
Right. The way that it's set up, I was told I read, which was terrible fucking reading, that it takes place on Earth 2. So when Oliver restarted the universe, yeah, he made an Earth Prime, but he didn't exclusively make one Earth. So there are alternate Earths at the instant that that happened, and that's where Stargirl is. So there ain't going to be any opportunity for a crossover until, I'm guessing, Cisco either gets his powers back, or I don't know if it's going to be at the end of next season or the season after, whenever they recreate the Speed Force on the Flash and he can jump from Earth to Earth.
let's hope that shit never happens. But anyway, anyways.
Okay, so you don't want them to cross over at all? You don't want the characters on the Flash to go and grab Stargirl for the crossover to do something?
No, because that would mean we would incorporate these shitty CW writers. And I gotta say, Flash has not blown my socks off since season 3. I do not co-sign it. Supergirl is trash.
That's okay. That's okay with all of that. How do you feel about the crossovers that they have done? Like, take them out of the seasons that they're in and look at Crisis, look at Earth X. God, what were the other big crossovers? I can't even remember what they were. But what, they done 4 or 5 of them already?
Geekicidal Tendencies. I hear what you're saying, but this is still funded by the DC universe. It's not going to be mutually CW. As a matter of fact, it might actually go to Warner Bros. With the Titans and Doom Patrol, which they can never put on CW because, you know, it's Doom Patrol and Titans. If you watch those shows, you'll see why they'll never cross over. But anyways, yeah, I
wouldn't be so sure. Don't be so sure. Like, I would have never
I know
thought
they
that
did
Supergirl
cross over.
was ever
They did cross over Lucifer,
and they did. Right, they did Lucifer, which is from Fox, and they did Supergirl in an episode like how they used Lucifer when she was still on CBS.
Yeah, I got that.
So
I'm just
this show is already has the inside track because it's not on another network, and they're showing it on the network that they're showing the other shows. Because yeah, they put it on DC Universe first, and then they put it on CW the next day.
Here's the interesting thing,
And
though.
yes,
I did,
Cybernetic Husky, it's like the electronic company.
and here's an interesting thing I did hear, though. This could be rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. Although, keep in mind, DC is following me on Twitter. Anyways, I have heard rumors that on DC Universe, the Titans and some other people from that universe are supposed to cross over into Stargirl, which will be interesting because Titans and Doom Patrol is like fucking mature. So I'm curious as to like if the episodes may be different depending on what platform you watch it on, because DC Universe has mature shows and the CW doesn't. So, what do you think? Do you think they might be maybe edited for content going forward, or do you think they're gonna water it down so that they could show it, simultaneously with CW?
I mean, I don't think that there would be anything in Stargirl that they would have to edit for content, because I mean, you watched it on DC Universe and I watched it on CW. How long is the episode? Is it like 44 minutes or 43 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, it's about the same time. Not really much
Okay,
of a
so it's still got
difference.
the same run length,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
like the style of show that it is, being that it seems like it's targeted for more of a younger audience, being like maybe junior high people, high school people, college people, more so than the upper end of the demographic being people in their 30s and 40s, because they always look at the 20 to 49 range, and that's what's important, even though there's more baby boomers in America. But whatever, like, make money however you want, companies. But I don't see in that show why they would have mature material the same way that they do in Doom Patrol.
yeah, I mean, the stuff that was edited uh is not like, I would say, greatly changes the content from the CW video. Geekicidal Tendencies pointed out there was 10 minutes cut out. I don't know. I didn't notice much of a difference from
10
the
minutes cut from
CW
what?
version. He just said
From
10 minutes
Stargirl?
was cut out. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what he's talking about. Hold on, I can go on my DC Universe app right now and check that.
Interesting, because that would be a lot. Because, yeah, that's like watching the very first episode of Stargate on, if you find it somewhere online or if you own a physical copy of it. There is some adult stuff in there that they don't cut for time, but they edit the way that they show you the shot so that you're not seeing the boobs or the bush. But then there are certain scenes that are completely cut out, like when Kowalski tells Colonel O'Neill that, "Oh, Colonel, I didn't even know, we went on this whole mission and I didn't even know that you had a son the whole time." That entire scene is cut out if you just watch the version that you see on the Sci-Fi Channel or any other like syndicated version on any other network. Like, that's an important scene in the story, because if you don't see that, later scenes don't make sense. You're like, wait, why are you bringing this up when you didn't, you're like bringing it up out of nowhere. So yeah, if they cut 10 minutes out of the show, that would be a lot. Apparently him checking DC Universe kicked him out of the stream. That is hilarious. Oh, he's back now.
Yeah, fucking back button. Anyways, yeah, there, to my knowledge, I didn't see anything different, but I'm actually loading up my thing now, which is why I cut it out of the stream, because I'm seeing like the comparisons.
That's what I
Because
said to everybody.
Yeah, because I could tell you like exactly, but to my knowledge, because I watched both the CW and this one, there wasn't anything major geekocidal tendencies that I saw that was like really relevant or changes the story. There might have been a few things here or there that they cut, swear
I
words
don't
and
know,
things
man.
like that.
10 minutes. I would love to see 10 more minutes of Stargirl. So now my question is, on DC Universe, is the pilot different? Like, is it still edited down on DC Universe?
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm logging in now, so give some thoughts or some shit, and I'll tell you exactly what I see in a second here. Motherfucker, how do
Because
you not
Geek
remember
says
me?
he's going to watch the DC version, which, yeah, I would watch the DC version too if it didn't cost me money. Like, if there was a version on there where I could just watch with ads, I'd watch the ads, especially if I'm getting 10 more extra minutes of the show. Like, I don't necessarily need it to add to the story, or if it's something that doesn't detract from the story so you're not missing anything important, that's not a big deal per se. But to get more of the characters that you love, that would be like the same thing when I always say when I'm watching Winter Soldier and you see Falcon and Bucky sitting in the car, like I want 10 minutes of that, of them just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you get like, what, a minute, maybe 90 seconds? Like that scene is freaking hilarious. So if it was longer, that would be great. Yeah, you still get the gist of their dynamic, but I would take more of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. What the fuck? Okay, Jesus
Bill
Christ.
Bob Cap says, "Who will play Stargirl?" I don't understand the question because they already have a person playing Stargirl. Her name is Breck Bassinger. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. Or else
Yeah.
it's Bassinger.
Oh my God.
Like, I guess it's up to her how she wants to pronounce it. I've never heard her say her name or seen her on a talk show to have somebody introduce her before, so I'm not exactly sure how you would pronounce the last name. Pretty sure I got the first one right because it's only 4 letters.
See, this is what happens when I create a long ass pass.
LB, stop trolling me. She don't look 13, you ridiculous son of a bitch. I will agree that they make her look younger than what she is, but I'm not going to feel weird about it because she's 20. Like, of all the CW shows out there, because I can count it because it plays on the CW. So I can't count any of the other ones that are on DC Universe. Stargirl might have the hottest chick on it. It's close. You got Ava on Legends of Tomorrow. She was pretty hot in the last episode. They had her in a tight black dress. That was pretty good. And then, I mean, on The Flash, I mean, what do you got to pick from on The Flash? Iris? Come on now. Like, she's okay. And then Batwoman, Sophie's the hottest one on that show. That's pretty easy to pick from. Be quiet, woman. I know you think that Ruby Rose is the hottest, but I don't want to be seeing ribs when you take your shirt off. How is it that you're the main character of your show and every single other person, every ex Batwoman girlfriend is hotter than her? Every single one. I know she's good with her fingers. But how is it possible that your main character is the second hottest one in every relationship that she's in? Even when she picks up that one chick who robbed her, the bartender is better looking than her, and she's a string bean too. Whereas Stargirl is not a string bean. She is a gymnast that fights with a cosmic staff. Like, I am on board for that. God damn it, Cyber. No, that's disturbing. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Oh, okay. I should have figured that LB was going to pick Caitlin from The Flash. That don't surprise me.
Killer Frost's daughter.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll ask him now. Hold on. I got a question for LB. LB, between these two characters on The Flash, who is hotter? Caitlin or Killer Frost? Go.
Killer
He'll get back
Frost.
to me in like 30 to 47. Yeah, that's what the wife said too. And I am inclined to agree. Like,
It's Killer Frost, man.
that hair, the lips, all of it. It was not an honest question, Husky.
So
Like,
I'm watching it.
Somebody doing that when they're on a live stream, they got problems.
So the runtime for the one on the DC Universe is actually 57 minutes.
Holy shit. 57 minutes, you're going to have to give me your password.
Yeah, just go. I'll tell you after. I don't want everyone to be
Oh my
doing the
gosh.
community. Yeah,
LB
I'll tell you.
surprised me. He said Caitlin was hotter than Killer Frost.
What?
Wow, shocking revelations. But yeah, so the DC Universe, I'm gonna have to do like side by side comparison and watch the CW and then the DC Universe and then see exactly where the cuts are. But yeah, there's some significant cuts, which is what I was saying. Like, this is not clearly not shot for the CW. It's one of those things like Sci-Fi where they went and they edited stuff for television. Now I got to see exactly where they made the cuts, and I'll get back to you.
Now that I know, but now I'm skeptical now for the future. Are they going to continue to do that with every episode? Because if that's the case, what the hell am I missing out on? Because if episode 1 was as good as I thought it was, and I missed 10 to 12 minutes, son of a bitch.
Yeah, man. And to tell you the truth, I'm racking my brain because I mean, I watched some of the CW one, but I didn't do a comparison. So, like, I watched it on DC Universe because it dropped a little bit sooner, and episode 2 will come out a little bit sooner. So I watched that, and then I watched the CW, and you forget shit. So I'm gonna have to like sit back with a notepad like we did with Game of Thrones and actually write down what they edited compared to, the DC Universe version and be like, holy shit, they cut this, this, and this. And that raises questions too. Do you really want it in the CW if they cut 12 fucking minutes from the DC Universe?
Right. I mean,
that's a lot.
I gotta keep my fingers crossed that they're not gonna do that, because Stargate didn't do that. Like, once you get into the regular episodes, they're all about the 45-minute mark. So they trim a little bit of time by cutting off like the seconds of like transitions and the time outside the base and shit like that. Like, people who've watched the show know what I'm talking about. But they didn't cut any scenes. So if you watch an episode from like the first 5 seasons when it was on Showtime, and you watch them in syndication now, you're not missing anything. You'd only be missing stuff from the pilot. But yeah, if they're going to continue to do that with episodes going forward, it's like, okay, are you reviewing the show that's on DC Universe, or are you reviewing the show that is on CW? Because they're not going to be exactly the same. Somebody that shows up to listen to your review is going to be like, wait a second, I watched it. That didn't happen. What are you talking about? And you'd be like, oh, I watched it on DC Universe.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this is very interesting. Thank you, Geekicidal Tendencies, for bringing that up, because
Yeah,
you
I
could
didn't know that.
virtually have two separate reviews.
Right?
You could even do a compare and
Like,
contrast.
damn.
I mean, 12 minutes is a lot. That's not just like edits or scene wipes. That's like whole fucking scene
That's
or two.
yeah. I mean, I don't know the percentage because I don't want to bust out the calculator, but 12 of 57, and I mean it might be a little more than that because it's somewhere between like 42 and 45. I don't know the exact run time of the one on the CW. I'd probably have to like pull it up on the CW app and they might show you on there or something like that. So yeah, I mean 10 to 12 minutes, you're talking like 20% of your show. That seems like a lot. I mean, that's not like a 2-hour movie and you cut 5 minutes. That's a little different. Or like, Endgame, and then they, did the second release of Endgame and they added what, 8 minutes or something like that?
And
yeah, so you went from 3 hours to 3 hours and 8 minutes. Whoop-de-doo. But to go from 45 to 57, holy shit, that's a little bit of a jump.
Yeah, we're definitely, we'll keep tabs on this for you guys. But this
Gosh, I
has
hope
been
they
a
didn't
great.
cut anything out of that first scene.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back through and write stuff, and then we'll compare and contrast and see exactly how much. But Geekocidal Tendency brings up a good point. If there's 10 episodes in the season and you edit out 10 minutes per episode, that's a whole extra episode. And he's right.
Right.
That's holy
more.
fuck. Yeah.
That's
So
more than a whole episode. 10 minutes an episode, you would have a whole episode at 6 episodes. That's almost 2 episodes.
So yeah, we'll keep, and I'll give you a password so you could do, I'll give you my password so you could do like proper reviews and actually find out what you're what you're missing. You could do the compare and contrast because I don't got time for that shit anymore. But anyways, yeah.
Fuck.
I wanted to cover more, but the bottom line is DC has been doing missteps and they've been doing shit proper. So you guys decide. Do you want Snyder Cut? Do you want what do you think of this Ruby Rose situation? Watch Stargirl, preferably now that you know. My endorsement, DC, if you're seeing this on your Twitter, Zod supports you. DC Universe, $7.99 a month. Okay. And there's a free month trial. What do you got to lose? Nothing. You get Stargirl. You get all of Swamp Thing, even though it was canceled. You get all 13 episodes. 2 seasons of Titan. The Harley Quinn show, which is blowing up. That
Doom
shit is
Patrol.
hilarious. Doom Patrol. I mean, you get Brandon Fraser fucking a random girl in the first 5 minutes of the episode. I mean, granted,
and every new comic that DC releases.
Everyone, like, I mean, you get all of the DCAU, and I wanted to talk about that, but I just don't have the time. But it's worth it. Come on, you get Justice League Dark, you get the Killing Joke. I mean, they're Hush. You get all of these great DC animated universes, and they are killing it in the animated part of the DC universe. So if you're not a member, go and subscribe. Hit promo code ZOD, and you get some extra deals. What's funny? I might actually say that, and it might be true one day. But anyways, this has been a great talk, and hopefully we enjoyed it. We got, 14 like votes on this video? I don't know. We had 15 people watching at one point. So thank you, everybody, for supporting us and for listening to 2 rational people talk an hour and a half. God, we gave Zack Snyder more time than we should have. But yeah, thanks for listening to us, because I think we raised some good points. And, go ahead and check out the Prophets of Geek Culture. That's our alternate channel. We got some awesome
drop a link
stuff
for that.
GP just informed us 21 likes. Holy shit. I think that's the most I've ever been liked. But PB, Tell them about the great Stargirl reviews you'll have now that you're gonna get my passcode.
Oh yeah, man. Stargirl reviews every week on. Oh man. Apparently, if I'm gonna keep getting razz, maybe I'll have to do one DC Universe review for Profits of Geek Culture, and then the CW review for Pop Culture PB. But yeah, that's gonna happen every week because I was surprised. Like I put it out, and it didn't get like in the first hour, nobody was looking at it, but I put it out kind of late, and I didn't get it out the day that I wanted to. It was a day after, so that was on me. But then it actually got a little bit of traction after that, and I was like, hey, all right, I can work with that.
And so, yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to everyone. Go check out LB. He's gonna suffer through the last Jedi. Props to LB. We said it at the beginning of the stream. A true masochist. He's gonna review the fucking sequel trilogies. LB, I don't know how you're gonna do it, bruh, but my hat is literally off for you because I took my hat off because it's hot as shit in this car. But yeah, hats off and good luck with that. I won't be doing the watch along, but I'll listen to the commentary like PB because there's no fucking way I'm watching that movie ever again. But shout out to him. Shout out to Perp Minded. Cybernetic Husky's got his Twitch streams. If you aren't supporting him, go support him on Twitch. He's almost an affiliate. We need to get a dog some love so he can get some people some great content. Go and watch that. Go check out Perp Minded. He's doing some great random streams. And check out Stevie J reviews. He came out with some great stuff. Just check us all out over at the Prophets of Geek Culture. And I will be dropping my review of the DCAU. I'm going to watch and review every single movie. There's 15 fucking movies, and I'm going to sit down for you guys and watch and rate all of them with my new system, 1 out of 10 bats. So I've been looking for the fucking bat icon in my PowerPoint. It's a bitch. I think I actually have to buy it. But I'm gonna have a little like Batman symbol that comes up. And I'm gonna do
I'll send you some bat symbols.
Yeah, I'm gonna do like 1 out of 10 bats. How I think each of the movies rate. So I'm gonna do every movie but Apocalypse War because Perp Minded already did that. My first video is just an overview on it, and then telling you about the other videos I'll review. So P, go ahead and tell them about all of the new stuff you got coming out.
Oh man, new stuff? Who knows what I'm doing? I'm gonna do a video on Profits of Geek Culture talking about Zack Snyder and how he's a liar and full of shit, and you only have to use his own quotes to prove it. And then on my channel, I don't know, probably have another, I don't know, MCU March Madness. It'll be done by next March, for sure.
Oh man, the Odyssey continues. So everybody go to check that out.
I've been slacking real bad. I was looking at my was I looking at YouTube Creator Studio? It's like, hey, you hadn't put out something in 3 weeks. I was like, fuck. And I did that review, and I didn't think I was going to get any traction on it. And then it got some views. I was like, hey, all right, cool. Got a bunch of comments too. Somebody told me stop being a snowflake. I didn't understand it.
Oh man. But yeah, definitely go and check us all out. And I'm gonna have some reviews up. I'm gonna do a lot of stuff on the weekend because I'm actually off on Monday, so I may extend my late night talks. We might do one on Sunday, so we'll do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday late night talks. Definitely check out the channel. And I'm going to be working and editing on my first DCAU review. It's going to be Justice League Apocalypse or Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. I'm just going to give an overview and then kind of set up, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning. So the first one I review is Flashpoint Paradox, which I will tell you where it fits in the timeline. And most importantly, because I got asked this question, what order to watch the movies in. You only have to actually watch 5 out of the 15. The rest are just side stories. So I'll lay that all out, and then you guys can choose which ones you want to watch. But I'll tell you the most important, relevant ones. So there you go. Everybody, thank you for joining us. We ranted, we talked, we had a great time. We were up to 15 people watching. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the love. And as always, remember the only rule here in the fandom car: kneel before General Zod and DC Universe.
Never, especially in a car.